What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Basement Show. We got a bunch of new faces out here to talk about Godzilla versus King Kong. We've got our Boston correspondent, Jay. Welcome to the program, man. Longtime fan, first time on. Glad to have you.
Hey, you guys.
We've got
How's everyone
from
doing?
Just Your Average Joe podcast, neighborhood buddy Joe Mistretta. Welcome, Joe.
Thanks, Pete.
We've got Andrew Buzzetta back again. And, of course, Juwaan from Geek Vibes Nation. I hope you've been tuning in to that YouTube channel to see Juwaan, JD, myself, and a bunch of other people talk about not only Winter Soldier, Falcon and Winter Soldier, WandaVision, but also Figure It Out, our toy channel, which we're having a lot of fun with each and every week. Juwaan, welcome to the show, man.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having me.
So let's talk about monsters, man. I loved this movie. It gave me everything that I could possibly need out of the movie, but I want to hear what you guys have to say first. So I'm going to start with you, Jay. What'd you think?
I love this movie, start to finish. Few things they could have cut out, a few things that they shouldn't have cut out, but that goes with every movie.
Fair enough. Anything major that stands out that like you just didn't need?
The kid from Deadpool 2, his whole character thrown away.
It took till my second time realizing like, oh shit, that's the dork from Deadpool. I didn't pick up on that at all.
It's because he looks like he lost like 100 pounds.
Yeah, he was a big kid in that movie. I mean, he's like young too. He ain't, but like, I was trying to figure out how old he was in Deadpool because he's got that like really babyish face anyway. But the human aspect of any of these movies should always be minimal at best. Joe, what'd you think, man? Thoughts on Godzilla?
I feel bad because I might be the only one. I might be the odd man out here. I do love this movie. I think it's better than King of Monsters. I don't know why, but I know we didn't see Godzilla that much in the first one, but I still kind of like the 2014 one just a little bit better. And this is why. Yes, the human elements we all know are gonna suck, especially in King of Monsters. Team Godzilla was horrible. Like Team Godzilla, the human cast of Team Godzilla was pointless. I don't even think it was just the Deadpool nerdy kid. What was his face? I can't think. Dennison. What's his real name?
The actor that played the conspiracy guy.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
No, not the conspiracy guy. I'm talking about the one that was in Deadpool 2.
Oh, I have no idea.
So either way, like I just felt like, and even Millie Bobby Brown, like I liked that she was here. I liked her in the previous movie, but even her character felt pointless, especially her dad. Like the dad was in it, like, oh, he's attacking people. We don't know why, and then we never see him again until the end of the movie. But there were a few things that I still like. Look, it's a movie about Titans. It's a movie about monsters, so there's got to be suspension of disbelief. But then there's things that they push too far for the audience to have that suspension of disbelief, like the whole hollowed earth thing. Beautiful idea, beautiful concept. It's the middle of the earth. Why was there sunlight? Like, you know what? There's just little things like that just didn't hit me well. Other than that, dude, I mean, the fight sequences between Kong and Godzilla were awesome. Mecha Godzilla was awesome. But I just had a few little, nitpicks here.
Fair enough. Juwaan, I'm saving you till last, and you know why. Andrew, hit me. What'd you think of the movie?
I actually got a lot to say about this. You actually you asked me about the horror thing, and you know that this is not my genre of watching movies at all.
Right.
Okay? So with that, I actually, when you told me it's like you want to come and do the Godzilla thing, I was like, yeah, you know what? And then I realized I didn't see the 2019 one, so I had to really go back and watch that. I agree with what Joe said. It was far better than the 2019 version. I actually very much enjoyed the movie, by the way. I will say I actually enjoyed Godzilla. And a lot of stuff, I mean, what Joe said about sunlight in what I considered like a Jules Vernean type of Middle Earth type of thing.
Right.
Things are iridescent. We have things, there's light all the way at the bottom of the ocean because certain things glow. So I accepted that the magic moon rocks that were floating around that were glowing purple were lighting the whole place up in certain cases. What I did like the monsters. I had heard going into this that the special effects were horrible. I disagreed with that. I thought I didn't think there was. I've seen far worse. You know what I mean? And I heard that the movie was. Well, we were talking on the other. What was it with the other show last week or 2 weeks ago? It was, and get ready. We were supposed to be disappointed. I was not disappointed by this movie in any capacity. In fact, the only things I was disappointed at was that I could tell that it was cut for running time. I agree again with what Joe said, that the father's presence in the movie was definitely cut short. You don't hire that actor and then bring him back on contract to have him just do a basic parental scene of where are you? Why is my daughter in Hong Kong? That makes no sense whatsoever. So I'm going to assume that there's a director's cut of this, or an actual extra half hour of that human element that was cut from the movie. I would like to see it restored. I would also like to see where they're going with this, because I actually thought that the Monsterverse was done a little bit better than the DCU.
I agree.
Absolutely. I actually thought that the sunlight from the hollow earth was all stemming from that like electrical power source that, you know, there was like the two mountains touching, and I thought that was lighting everything up. I went into this whole thing wanting to be entertained, so I'm just like, fuck it, whatever. Like,
it was definitely entertaining. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. This
100%.
was fun from start to finish. There's no question for me there. And
it was like the first Transformers movie. I wanted to see robots beat the hell out of each other.
Precisely.
This movie, I got to see Godzilla go up against Kong, and you know, and they wrecked all of the city. Yep. And then they bring in what's his face, Mechagodzilla, and then they both team up and wreck that whole part of the city. I was entertained.
I gotta say, when Godzilla came up in Hong Kong out of the water and just like blasts through the bridge, I was like, that was unnecessary, man. You could have went 10 feet ahead and just missed the whole bridge and saved a few lives. But you know, Godzilla is technically the bad guy, even though bad people was rooting for Godzilla. He was technically the bad guy in this. But one person was not rooting for Godzilla. Juwaan, what's up, man? You were not happy with the ending of this movie.
No, the director was 100% biased. Godzilla got 2 movies coming into this. Kong only had 1. And you clearly structured the trailers to be for Kong. That Kong was supposed to be the underdog, supposed to come in. I told you part of why, and again, let me just say, I did enjoy the movie. So this isn't me about to go into why I hate it. I did enjoy the movie. But I really did think Kong would win at the end of the day and ascend to becoming King Kong. But instead, they did my man dirty. First of all, Kong should never play dead. That's just disrespectful. That should never, ever, 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 ever happen.
You talk about when he was on the boat and he got back up on the boat.
Yeah, when he was on the boat, he legit was just like, I ain't even got it in me. Like, I ain't even about to get up. Like, if I just stay here, he'll go away. But it was just to the point to where it was just like, on paper, it's like if Muhammad Ali in his prime fought Nate Robinson, right? To where you're just like, well, Godzilla should win this. But to me, it shouldn't be that easy. Like, it was just to the point to where it's just like, Kong got the weapon, came up, Godzilla still whooped his ass. And it was just like, oh no, this is horrible. And then we're seeing Mechagodzilla versus Godzilla, and I'm like, all right, perfect. Like, Kong will stay back. Godzilla will like exert all his energy defeating Mechagodzilla. Then Kong will come in, defeat him, and then boom, end of the day, right? Nope. Kong gets up and is like, I'm gonna help him. It's just like, oh no, what? Like, huh? But to me, I kind of felt as though 2 things they did really well. One, they showed Transformers, who is currently filming their new movie, that humans do not matter. Essentially, you take the entire Godzilla team, throw them in the garbage, and you just focus on that little girl and Rebecca Hall. That movie is exactly the same. It does not change anything about that movie. Because the focus is supposed to be on the monsters. But I did want to say that the director did say he has a 5-hour cut.
Oh.
So all the scenes of the characters that seems like maybe they were cut, they essentially were. I do believe the studio came in and was just like, whoa, I see a lot of human interaction here. We got to get rid of all that shit. But was this better than Godzilla King of Monsters? I don't know, man. Ghidorah, Mothra, they just look so good in that movie. And I was hoping we could see Ghidorah back. I did not like that it was just the tusk that they were using the power from. Because I did think that would have been really dope, to where it's like they fight Ghidorah, right? And then in the eve of fighting Ghidorah, you now have to fight Mecha Godzilla. Just to give something else, to where it's like they're fighting something else rather than each other. Last thing, what makes me very sad is, from what I'm hearing from the studio side, this is possibly it. This was the end of that saga of these monster movies. So that makes me very sad, because it was originally in the plans for us to get Pacific Rim versus Godzilla in King Kong, but alas, we have to wait and see if they reboot it all, or maybe they revive it down the road.
Well, there was I did see on Twitter that there were people that were hashtagging restore the Monsterverse, like the Snyder Cut.
Right.
The studio actually, they retweeted it with the wide eyes going back and forth like this.
Yeah.
What are we going to do now? And what was it? 50 million opening weekend during a pandemic.
That's pretty good.
Was very strong, and it definitely makes the if you can make money off of it, they will give it to you. Yeah. That's what this is always boiled down to.
And they have to calculate in the ratings as well, like how many people like myself just watch the shit on HBO sitting in my living room.
Yeah.
And we're looking at the model for movies drift away from I'm sorry, but we're looking at movies drift away from the theater experience. We said this last time, and moving towards these streaming pop-ups. So if you're creating content, maybe they don't. Maybe Universal, they don't have another movie come out. Maybe they decide to create content for Netflix or HBO Max where there's a TV series. Or
I'm completely amenable to that.
Yeah, only issue with that, Andrew, is the pushback you're going to have is what's going to really set the course for if that's true, is how much money Black Widow makes from the people like myself who are only watching it at home.
Oh, yeah. I'm
going to tell you right now, if Disney comes out and says, I am not, from 2022 and on, releasing from Disney Plus, I'm only doing theaters, that's an insane portion of theaters' money, is just purely Disney. Like, we forget, for Endgame, Disney came out and told theaters, I want 95% of your showings to be Avengers. And some theaters were just like, excuse me? And they were like, yeah, so make it happen.
Having worked for Disney,
that powerful.
That goes back to their entire structure under Eisner.
Right.
But I mean, I think that worked, because if you were going to the movies that weekend, you wanted to see Endgame.
If you're the biggest kid on the block, you can push everyone around.
But now theaters also have another option, and I'm actually glad you brought that up, because Jay, you did something pretty cool that weekend. You rented out a theater for, like, you said it was your brother's birthday or something.
Yeah, it was my buddy's birthday, so we rented out an entire AMC theater, really about $275.
Okay.
And it was one of the smaller ones, but it was worth it. And then I'm looking here on IMDb, the movie for the opening weekend grossed $122 million for during a pandemic.
We lost Jay's connection, unfortunately.
Yeah,
but,
they compared it. They compared
like
it to
the
Godzilla
idea.
King of Monsters. And that's what they did. They compared the opening weekend to that, and it was, I think, it was by $7.5 million. It fell short, but it's in the middle of a pandemic with theaters, theaters capacity being limited. So I honestly, look, I would love to see a continuation of this Monsterverse, but if they gave us a movie that kind of did like a backstory to where that axe came from, the rivalry between the ancient monsters of the past, I'd be okay with that for now. I'd be all right with that.
Yeah, I will say the one confusing thing, though, was I was telling my aunt, this movie kind of structures it to where clearly this Kong does not know that Godzilla. It's just the idea of, like, two dogs who've never met each other. There's always going to be territorial beef.
I felt
no pass between the two of them.
I felt that, like, they really portrayed Kong is pretty good. Like, I actually thought that when he decides to play dead, it shows that he's smarter than Godzilla.
Yeah, you got to learn to take your loss, because you know that's not your that's your weak point. Water is Godzilla's forte. Like that's his.
Yeah, they show Kong flipping the boat and then jumping up on top of it. They show that he has strength enough to do that, which I forgot how much he's grown since the Samuel L. Jackson Kong.
Well, remember, Andrew, he was only
like a little kid at the time, right?
He was only a baby. That's
right.
the crazy part. He was only a baby. So in this, he's, I'd say, just become like an actual grown man.
Yeah.
And I think just what bothered me the most was he was on an island where all he did was fight every day. So it's not like, oh, this is his first big. He was fighting monsters daily.
He was fighting skull crawlers.
And like I really do feel like it shows his intelligence. He's learning sign language. He's able to communicate back and forth. So he would know to play dead in a scene like that. You know what I mean? Like it's not cowering in front of Godzilla.
No.
He knows what he's doing, and he knows he's going to go for round 2.
Yeah.
I feel you, but to Godzilla,
Yeah.
he took that as, yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, all right. Like
Even at the end,
because he thought he won.
even
That's
at the
why he
end, though,
was
I took that as Godzilla taking the W there too. I mean, it was a mutual
Absolutely.
respect. But when he drops that axe, Godzilla gives him that look like, yeah, I thought so, and then he turns around and leaves.
I also took it as disrespect of Godzilla, kind of, because remember, he's still the king of monsters. He
Yeah.
beat Godzilla twice, right?
Right.
I took it as a higher form of disrespect that at the end, Kong had to go live in imaginary land. Like, Godzilla's just like, yeah, all this is mine. Like, you can't live here.
There's a lot of potential for sequels there, and he could very well become King Kong. I mean, he's got the whole throne and everything there, and I think there's a lot of opening for his ascendance. Let's say to
I want to see that team back.
Royalty.
I want to see the little girl, Rebecca Hall.
Yeah.
Skarsgård, I could really take or leave. But I do want to see Rebecca Hall and that girl come back. And yeah, I mean, we could, but he can never be King Kong in my eyes till he's able to be king up top. You can't tell me you're king down low. That doesn't count, because Godzilla's like, I've literally beaten every major monster. You'll never be king.
No,
Well,
because
I think if you're saying that he can't be king down low, I mean, I think Thor and Oakenshield would take offense to that. He was king on the mountain. I'm just saying.
yeah, and I think you're also forgetting that this King Kong winds up to be the king of where all the Titans come from, whereas every other incarnation of King Kong is dead at the corner of 34th and 7th.
It's a valid point.
Yeah. Well, that's why I was saying to my friend Joel, this Kong is not that Kong. This Kong is not jumping on buildings.
Well, no.
Right.
The size comparison alone.
Yeah.
I honestly,
the size comparison alone, yeah.
I took the whole ending of like when Godzilla stepped on, and I mean, I laughed my ass off when they were both just yelling at each other back and forth. But
Yeah.
stepping on his chest, like, stay down, don't make me do it.
I like
And
it.
then like, okay, now we move along.
Now let me ask you, because I mean I've seen the original Godzillas. I watched that as a kid. So I watched almost all of them. I'm pretty sure that with Godzilla's atomic breath, I could be wrong. So if you guys please correct me if I'm wrong. Doesn't it take a while to charge his atomic breath?
Yeah, it
Yes
does.
and no, depending on the movie.
Yeah.
Did you
Right,
guys
I'm just
exactly? Did you guys? I mean, don't get me wrong. I think all the shots of that were awesome. I love the fact that he added the eyes glowing blue. I thought that was a really cool touch. But do you think that it was a little overdone with the atomic breath? I felt like he shot it way too much in this movie, or is it just me?
No, because they said he was supercharged.
From what?
Right, because you got to remember from the last movie, after that, pretty
Right.
much atomic
He went
bomb
where he
powered
went
him up.
atomic.
Right, he's just like, he's now has his power. But the reason why it didn't bother me was that's his bread and butter. I
Right.
mean,
No, I know.
That's like when you look at Iron Man versus Cap, and all Iron Man is able to do is his blast. It's like that's really all he has.
Exactly.
You know, when you look at it, he ain't got no hands. Like
Right.
he can't really like go toe to toe. So it's the idea of there needs to be a neutralizer between the two, like something that sets them apart. And his breath is what does that. So I mean, maybe, yeah, but I think the biggest thing that and it didn't affect me, but I heard a lot of people talking about this, was the casualties. I think people forget Godzilla doesn't care. Like
What is he gonna do?
yeah, he's like, Godzilla doesn't look down and go, "Oh shoot, I'm sorry."
Oh, my bad. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to step on your car.
He's the king of monsters. He doesn't
Yeah.
care about humans. Like
The
what?
whole purpose of the creation of Godzilla was to act as a force of nature.
Right.
He doesn't care, like the tornado doesn't care about ripping up Kansas.
Right. But to be more specific, Andrew, it's like, even if he did care, where else would he go? Like, he's a giant monster.
Yeah.
He can't tippy-toe on land without stepping on people.
That would be a great movie, though, watching Godzilla like tippy-toe.
Right. You kind of go, oops, sorry. Well,
if you want to see that, just watch any of the 60s versions.
Yeah.
Fair.
What'd you guys think of the scene where he shoots down to the center of the earth?
I loved it because
Campy,
it's
but
in the middle
fun.
of him. I loved it because it's in the middle of him going, Mecha Godzilla, give me a second. And then he goes, I thought I killed this guy before. Give me 1 second. And then he's kind of just like, Kong, come up, get your ass beat so I can do what I gotta do. Like, I'm trying to go home. Like, so that to me was just like, thought he was dead. He's not. Let's finish this so I can go do what I really want to do. Like, that's kind of what I took it as.
That shit reminded me when, like, he's at the top of the earth yelling down and Kong's at the bottom yelling up. We've all seen the meme with the dogs like, hey, what's your name? Tony. Hey, fuck you.
Fuck you, Ezekiel.
Your mother.
Dude, that's hysterical. I can't stop watching that one. I love that one.
Now I need a dubbed version of that.
Absolutely. Somebody's got to make that. Somebody's got to
do that.
You know, the science behind it, though, it was a popular belief up until almost the late 1800s that there was actually, though, a hollow Earth. And that there were tubes and things connecting the planet that you could go traveling through.
There's still a big belief in that.
There's also people that believe that if I go too far in the Pacific Ocean, I'm going to fall off the turtle.
You're gonna fall off the cliff.
No, you're not, because Antarctica surrounds it, much like the Game of Thrones ice wall. Come on, if you're going to quote flat Earth theory, you can at least get it right.
Just so sad. I want to point out to Pete that he's like, I was like, I have a set of 1948 encyclopedias, and I can't believe that there's 4 or 5 people watching them on eBay for like $1,200. And Pete's like, no, I would take those. Like, why?
Because there's information in there that has not been bastardized by them.
True.
Fair.
There's no vaccine for polio.
Look, we don't need vaccines for polio. Everybody can have wheelchair races. It's fine.
No.
Yeah. That's probably really wrong to say.
Yeah.
I'm just glad you said it.
Look, don't get me started on Hollow Earth, man. Richard Byrd found something in Antarctica, and none of the world governments are telling us what the fuck it is. But that's a whole other show that I've been promising for a very long time, and this isn't it.
I want to see. I just want to sit on that show. I just want to.
You just want to be on a panel.
No, I don't even need to be on panel. I'll just be like, I'll sit in the basement on the opposite end of the couch, looking at you with disapproving looks. Like, really?
Did anybody else think we were going to see Brendan Fraser down there or no?
Oh, that would have been dope.
Or Dwayne.
Well, yeah, I was about to say The Rock was there too.
Or Dwayne. Yeah, The Rock was there. Yeah, I forgot. Yeah.
Oh man, that would have.
There was another cool part though with King Kong. He does like a kind of a Mel Gibson, Martin Riggs when he pops his dislocated shoulder.
Yeah.
On a building.
He pulls the Riggs. He goes right against the building. Hold on 1 second. Pop it back in.
Let me just tell you, that doesn't work. Okay, because I was playing a softball game where I went to go make a tag. And this is like 2005, and someone slid into my arm, wrapped it right around my back, and popped the shoulder. So I thought, because I've seen the movies, it would be a good idea to walk up to the backstop and try to slap it back in. I collapsed on home plate, crying my eyes out, and punched the ground so badly, I broke my right hand. So I started, within a week, I had my arm in a sling and my arm in this arm in a cast.
Yeah. No, Andrew's absolutely right. I did it trying to be cool, and I've now almost torn most of the bone from like the meat from my shoulder. Yeah, no, do not do that.
There's a specific way to do it.
And I had the surgeries. I got the surgery. Like Kong needs surgery. I'm telling you that right now. Kong needs surgery.
For sure. He's gonna notice it the one time he goes to throw a monster and he can't, and he's like, what is going on? And it's like, you gotta get surgery, Kong. You gotta get it.
I'm actually curious now about this cut, because I wonder if this cut not only adds some of the scenes you said especially with Kyle Chandler and the dad, but also I'm more team Godzilla, I'll admit it, so I'm a little bit more biased when it comes to that. I felt this movie was more of a Skull Island 2. Mm-hmm. It was a lot more King Kong forward or Kong forward. with Godzilla as, I mean, he was there. Don't get me wrong. And the fight, I can't say anything more about the fights. The fights were amazing, but this was more of a Kong movie. Even like I said, even like the Team Godzilla people sucked. The characters, especially the young girl, the deaf girl, I like that bond between the two of them.
Mm-hmm.
His characters were even better. Like they would give him more screen time, so it could play into that as well. But this definitely felt more of a Skull Island Part 2 featuring Godzilla.
I would assume that some of the scenes that were cut were the reference to the island's population being wiped out. I'm sure that was probably filmed or a little bit more expanded upon as to why that girl was there.
There's a scene I'd like to see, as a matter of fact, because they only addressed his name once, and I don't know the actor's name, but the guy who was piloting Mecha Godzilla is supposed to be the son of the dude. What's his name?
Enzawa?
Yeah, from the first one that said "Let them fight," and he lost his life, basically recharging Godzilla. So there's obviously some sort of disconnect. Well,
I had no idea that was his son. I had no idea.
Yeah,
that would have been nice.
Yeah, they gave him virtually no screen time. Like,
not at all. There has to be a reason he's pissed off at and wants to kill the monster that his father died to protect. I want to know what it is.
I'm like, at least I would have loved the line. Like, to me, it was like, if that line was needed in anything, it would have been this more so than the last movie where we got it. And it's like, this would have been perfect. The idea of like the government trying to like stop both monsters, and he just comes in and he's like, let them fight. And it's like, that would have been like that's what you need to lead us into the charge of the big fight between the two of them. So I'm like, it didn't really make any sense. I also don't like how King of Monsters ends with that scientist from Game of Thrones going, I could do something with like this Ghidorah, this Ghidorah monster. And then like nothing is said. And then it's like, oh, that's how Mecha Godzilla is being powered, is from like the skull of it's like, where's the in between here?
I accepted that.
I accepted that, especially with the writing process. I did notice that, like I said, I had to do a quick catch up. When I do a quick catch up, I really do my in depth as much as I can. And you went through a lot of writers for this movie.
Did they?
And I thought that the cohesion amongst all four of these, there were four of these movies, all four of these movies.
Yeah.
Right.
The cohesion between the plots and the writers, especially with the amount of times that they changed hands, was far better than what we saw even with Star Wars and the Disney Star Wars movies. They went with, they actually, it seemed like they actually did their homework to see what did the person do before me do. Let's build upon that. They actually seemed to have a plan. They knew exactly what they were going towards. They knew when they did Godzilla, they had the idea that maybe we can get to Kong versus Godzilla, as they showed on the cave walls and things like that. And then we see this even more when they do, the next Godzilla movie, when we see all the monsters also there besides Kong. They knew where they were going, and it shows in the writing process. And I can't commend them more for that, actually.
There is a precedent for. I like the idea that the nod toward Ghidorah, and that it was eventually Ghidorah that took control of Mecha Godzilla in the first place. And there is precedent for Mecha Ghidorah. I don't remember what movie he was in, but he was all like souped up and roboted out. And if you ever fought him in the original NES game, he's practically impossible.
But that's why Mecha Godzilla caught me off guard when they were making this, because I was just kind of like, I thought Mecha Ghidorah is what was coming. So it caught me off guard when they were like Mecha Godzilla. I was just like, okay. I mean, I gotta wait to see how it kind of plays out. And again, it was one of those things to where it was like, if that's your major conflict, which technically it wasn't, it was Godzilla and Kong, that could have lasted a little longer than that did. Especially if you're gonna have Kong take the L twice, you could have shrunk one of those fights to extend this one. Because I'm like, this is the time where it's like Kong can actually like really kind of show his strength versus the monster that he's actually able to beat. So technically, when they were like, all right, let's work together real quick, it was kind of just like, I don't know. I would have liked to have seen one of them kind of get not knocked out, but like kind of like knocked down.
I mean, Godzilla got the shit beat out of him by Mecha Godzilla. That was mostly Kong's fight.
Yeah,
he for sure did. And I'm like, all right, the one time y'all want to let Kong's shine is
I mean,
now okay.
Godzilla got the assist, though. He did get the assist.
Absolutely.
He powered the
Absolutely.
axe. He powered the
Yeah.
axe. But yeah,
Kong
I
was like mad jujitsu, just like getting up on his shoulders, doing like barrel rolls into arm bars and shit.
I
It
at
was
one
pretty
point
wild.
I thought Godzilla was going to do the final
One
blow.
cool thing I really did enjoy was when Kong's shoulder was dislocated and he pulls a lethal weapon and just slams it against the building, pops it back in.
Yeah.
Andrew had said it while you were in the midst of the connectivity issues, and he said, like,
Yeah.
don't try it in real life, please.
Yeah, I'm having broadcast issues. Sorry, guys.
That's all right, man. It happens to the best of us. It usually happens to Greg, unfortunately. But
Did anybody else think before the movie came out that it was going to be where they used, because this is what a lot of people thought. I especially thought this. Two things I knew going in. One, I knew we weren't going to get a clear winner. I was like, there's no way they're going to say, you know what, I didn't think anybody was going to be a clear winner, even though Godzilla did sort of win that one fight where, you know, Kong had to have his heart jump started by one of those machines.
Mm.
But I knew at the end of the movie, it wasn't going to be a clear winner. You can't do that to either fan base because both fan bases. So, you know what I mean? Because even in the first movie where it was, what was it? Godzilla just swims away and takes the L.
Right.
A lot of people didn't like that from the Godzilla standpoint. They were like, no, there's no way Godzilla takes the L there.
Right. Well, the director came out and said before the release that there was a clear winner.
Right.
And I assume he meant Godzilla because I mean Kong definitely didn't win any of the. Like someone was like he won the second one, and I was just like, I don't know what you were watching. There was nothing Kong won versus Godzilla.
I don't know. I thought he kind of knocked Godzilla around
did.
for like a second and a half, like that one round, but like Godzilla got right back up because it was, you know, it's round 3 now.
Well,
I do have to tell you, Juwaan,
ahead,
my mom's with you. She was rooting for King Kong as well, and she was like, "What the hell? He's knocking around the monkey." I was like, "He's an ape, Mom." She's like, "It's a monkey." But
it is a monkey.
I'll give him credit. He was throwing some good haymakers in there.
Hell
yeah.
He was, but Godzilla was just eating them shits. Like it just didn't matter. He was just like, I don't know what you're throwing, but none of this is working.
You had said it on, I believe it was just this past week on the toy show on Figure It Out, that the commercials showed Kong just giving him that blast on top of the boat, and then the scene cuts. So you don't actually get to see Godzilla like, oh, okay. Boom, and hit him right back.
Yep.
You know what it was? I compared it to the scene where Batman hit Superman with kryptonite, right? And he is just thrashing him. Only for Superman to go, well, the kryptonite's out, so yeah, I'm going to kill you now. Like, that's essentially what Godzilla did. It was just like, oh, man, well, he is giving me the business.
I would have liked to see more tail whip action. Like somebody needs to give him some martial arts lesson in how to work that tail, kind of like a
couple of
little
good ones
schoolgirl did with the chain.
You are right, but I kind of feel like Godzilla was like, I don't really need it. Like, he could have used it more. But when you're able to bite Kong and then just use like, you know, your powers, it's just kind of like, I don't really need all my body.
He did bite a lot. I noticed
He
that.
scratched the shit out of his chest too.
He did. And I was sitting there. I was probably the only one who was just like, look at this bitch. Biting and scratching, huh?
Yeah.
Is there coming next, Godzilla?
Didn't respect that.
When you got hands like the penguin, what else can you do?
That was why I didn't imagine him boxing. He's gonna.
But I thought Mechagodzilla was going to be. I thought what they're going to do with the Ghidorah head was that they were going to make an organic covering. I thought we were getting deceived by the trailers. I thought one of those fights between Godzilla and Kong was actually what's his face, Mechagodzilla, because in one of the old ones, it actually looks like Godzilla until the stuff starts to chip away and you see it's metal. I was hoping for that.
Yeah, I was really weirded out with how horrible, and I don't mean horrible in CGI. I mean horrible in like it's supposed to be a duplicate. The Mechagodzilla, I don't know what they were doing with that face of his. Like that
it looked nothing like it.
Just like I don't know where you missed the boat here, but
no. I think they were going for more since it's the same team that did Pacific Rim did these movies. I think they were trying to go for more functionality to bring it towards doing Pacific Rim versus Godzilla for the next one. But I think Toho might be having their own interest in doing another Godzilla movie themselves.
Well, that's what I was going to ask, Juwaan. So it doesn't look like you're going to get Pacific Rim in this universe. Okay?
Right.
It doesn't look like that. And even though they're both owned by, was it Universal, Legendary, whatever, it just doesn't look like it's going to happen for some reason.
Right.
So this is a moneymaker, though.
Mhm.
So I think it's guaranteed that we get, I think it's almost guaranteed. I can't say anything's guaranteed in life, that it's almost guaranteed that we're going to get some type of follow-up in some form of media. All right. For all we know, it could be a cartoon. It could be a series. Doesn't matter. I want to know where you, Juwaan, take it.
Well, personally, I wouldn't have had this movie. I would have given King Kong, or sorry, just me forward thinking. I would have given Kong his sequel.
Mm-hmm.
I would have given them both 3 movies, so you fully flesh out the characters. So by the time they fight, you're at Kong's very best. You're at Godzilla's very best.
Mm-hmm.
And then to end it all, you have Kong versus Godzilla. And then if you want to maybe extend it, Pacific Rim versus both of them. But I think the fact that they did this as early as they did, it shows you they didn't have confidence in the solo movies. And
I think they had to do this movie because
I think you could have done Kong 2. Then you could have done this.
I see. This is why I think they had to do it after what happened with the 2019. When I looked up to see, what happened in 2019, people were less than kind to Godzilla. What was it, King of All Monsters?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, they were less than kind. So now you have a situation where your next movie is either going to be something that sparks a lot of interest into the series, or you're rolling the dice to see, do we do another standalone movie and then we accidentally kill it before we get to our final Kong versus Godzilla. But this movie has people talking.
But that's why I think me and you were kind of saying the same thing. Because what I'm saying is they jumped to this because they had to. Because there were no faith. Yeah, there wasn't any faith in what the solos were doing. So you were kind of just like, well, if we don't do this now, we'll lose the opportunity to be able to do this and it to mean something. But now I'm kind of like, well, that's like getting to your destination and then going, damn, I'd really like to drive some more. Like, well, I mean, you could have at any point stopped to sightsee along the way, but you did the straight drive. Now you're here.
I don't think the last movie, then I agree with you. I don't think the last movie allows for them to do any more sequels of standalone characters. I don't think you're getting 3 movies each. I think you're getting audience fatigue by then.
Yeah, but that's why
there's a lot of monsters in the Godzilla mythos that, I'm going to akin this to seeing a D-list villain like the Vulture get an MCU quality upgrade. There's a lot of great monsters in the Godzilla verse that could really stand to get one of these upgrades. Varan, there's that monster that looks sort of like a Swamp Thing gone nuts.
We can also
Man Thing, whatever.
We can also add in if they're looking to really expand here. You don't have to bring in the robots yet. What you can do is say Kong or Godzilla has to take on these kaijus that are coming from this other Earth. So it's the idea of taking really big kaijus and having Kong or Godzilla take them on. So I'm like, you could have gotten creative with it. Here's the thing. Godzilla and King Kong, as big as they are not like Marvel and DC, right? So I don't think they have a wide enough fan base that's like, well, if you don't stick to these monsters, I'll be upset. I think people are kind of just like, well, they could fight paper, and I'd be interested in seeing these 2 monsters go at it. So to me, it gives you the freedom to get really creative. So I'm like, you could have expanded and had Godzilla have to defend his turf by these kaijus that are coming up, and maybe he gets overwhelmed, and maybe you carry that on to where Kong has to come up because they're flooding his land now. So I'm like, there's so much more you could have done with it, but they approached this kind of like how Daredevil season 3 approached it, to where it's like, we kind of made it to where this is the end. I mean, if someone wanted to take the baton and keep running, they could,
right?
But we essentially were meant to end this here in a way to where everyone felt good. Godzilla got to go on his way as the king of monsters. Kong went on his way, the king of his land. So it did kind of end itself to where it was like, this is it. But, someone could take it on if they wanted.
I just realized I never got around to watching Daredevil season 3.
You lost out, man. It's one of the best ones.
wasn't this always planned though? Even before King of Monsters, wasn't this planned from Skull Island in
Yeah,
17?
much, yeah.
Yeah,
Like-
but I don't think I would say if you asked them in Kong Skull Island, right?
Yeah.
Where in their timeline this movie was going to fall, during that movie, it wouldn't have been now.
Mhm.
It was because of that movie, then Godzilla King of Monsters, that they were kind of just like, ugh, we should probably do this.
Were the studios attached at that time for Skull Island, or was that a pipe dream at the end?
What do you mean? Of those two coming together?
Yeah.
No, it was the end credit scene.
No, what I'm saying is, was it like just an Easter egg of what could happen? Like,
No.
was it
No.
at what point do the studios get together? At what point?
I think
think
after the
in
first
their mind-
Godzilla.
Well,
That's
when
what
one
I'm saying. I
studio
think in their
loves
mind-
the other studio a lot, you know, do I have to have the birds and the bees talk?
No. To me, in my opinion, it was always in their mind of those two coming together. It was just more so of like, let's tread lightly to see if these movies hit. And
Right.
if they hit, we can tell them it's been our plan all along. So I kind of compare it to like when Kevin Feige came out joking like, yeah, the kid in Iron Man 2 was always Peter Parker. And it's like, well, no, that was only possible for you to say once
Now,
Sony
right.
deal with you, right? So to them, I think it was more so just like, wouldn't it be cool if we could
Similarly with the one guy with the white hair at Peggy Carter's funeral, that now they're like, no, that was always Captain America.
That's Steve
Right.
Rogers. That was Steve Rogers.
That was
Right.
maybe a quarter of your plan because you filmed 17 different endings for Endgame.
Right. So to me, it was just the idea of let's set it up so it's possible, and then if something that doesn't work, we can scrap it because
And then it never has to be addressed again.
Exactly. But it's not coincidence that it popped up at the end of Godzilla. I mean, at the end of King Kong, and then again at the end of Godzilla.
Yeah.
And then we got this.
Did anybody watch the Godzilla on Netflix, the animated show? Does it connect to this at all?
No,
Or
I didn't. Sorry, I almost lied to you. I did not.
fair enough.
No, the way that is set up. It's Godzilla attacks Earth, and then all the humans have to leave Earth, and they're in space for what I think 100 or 1,000 years. I'm not 100% sure on the timeline. They come back and they attack Godzilla, and then they realize they only killed a baby Godzilla, and then this giant mountains like the size of Everest wakes up, and they realize the real Godzilla is 1,000 times larger than what they thought.
Oh shit.
Right.
Okay,
Yep.
that's totally different. That's way off. All right.
I might watch. I didn't even know that existed.
Yeah, I mean the animation looks really dope. I just never got around to watching it, and I wasn't
I
sure
will
if it was
say
like a little
they-
interim thing.
I will
They
say the
bring in
Pacific
Ghidorah
cartoon
in the third season for that.
Really? Oh, I might have to watch it just for
and
that
it's a
alone.
completely different version.
Is
It's
that the
like,
only monster they bring in?
energy. From what I saw, yes, I think so. There's other
Is
monsters that I didn't
serious?
know. I didn't know who they were.
The only reason I'm really familiar with the most Godzilla, I mean, I watched a few of them, like the old school ones, but mostly from playing the old NES game where you have like a bunch of monsters attacking different, spots on Earth, and then you went to like different planets and you fought them there until you eventually got to King Ghidorah, who, like I said, was impossible because he's got 3 damn bars of energy, and you lose energy every time you do the damn beam, and that's the only thing that hurts him. You got cheesed. The game cheats. Nintendo's been cheating since 1985, and that's all I have to
I
say
used
on
to
the
watch the old cartoon when I was younger. I actually had a plush toy. So in the old movies, I can't remember what Godzilla's kid was called. I always forget when.
Oh, Godzuki!
No, but that's in the cartoon. It's Godzuki. In the movies, it's completely different.
Yeah.
But I had Godzuki. That's exactly what I was about to say.
Manila.
Manila. That's it.
Or was
No,
that,
that was. Are you sure
Yeah.
that's not Kong's kid?
No,
'Cause Manila was a
no.
gorilla.
It's-
Oh no,
no,
that was
no, it's-
Magilla. Fuck, I'm done. I need a drink.
That's what it is. That's exactly what it is in the movie. But in the cartoon, it was Godzuki, and I had the little plush because I used to watch the
That
cartoon.
was a
way
Hanna-Barbera
back
cartoon also.
Yes, it was.
then. Hanna-Barbera, yeah.
Oh my god.
See, I
That
became a
is-
Godzilla fan when I was 10 years old. I had a really bad stomach virus. I was out of school for like a month, and daytime TV when you're 10 is horrible. There was one broadcast channel that would play nothing but old school Godzilla and Mothra movies all day long for a month straight, and I became a huge fan.
My grandmother bought me the old VHS tapes. That was like my first experience with Godzilla.
Unfortunately, my first one was the 2001.
We don't speak of that.
Yeah, you know what's crazy? I remember going, man, this is really good.
No, that's a good one. That's not bad.
Wait, the Japanese 2001?
He's talking about
Oh no, the 98 one, the 1998. Yeah.
Oh, the 98. Yes, I'm sorry, 98.
I see something trending. It's actually restore the Roland Emmerich verse.
No.
I'm totally kidding, dude.
Thank God.
Oh,
you can't trust the internet. It might be happening.
That movie was horrible.
Broderick.
Very bad.
I want to see Matthew Broderick run around and get eggs again.
But Hank
For all the other
Azaria.
Godzilla movies that are out there on the legal streaming sites, they only have the Millennium series that is dubbed, and anything previously from that is not dubbed, and you can't find them unless you go to a non-reputable site.
Mm.
Yep.
I always wanted to see, like, I think it was was it Destroy All Monsters or something? That one of them came out around 2005, and it was one of like the newer series. And I'm just throwing the date out there. I know it was like early to mid 2000s, and it supposedly had like all of them in it, and I never got around to watching that. I know the guy who had the DVDs would always come to the office, and he always had it. I never wound up buying it, unfortunately.
That's all bits of it, not a lot. But I did want to pose this to you guys. Do you think this universe will have a Transformers kind of reboot to where it'll wait like maybe 5 years around that and then just reboot itself? Or do you think it'll give itself time and then maybe continue this on?
No, go ahead.
I think we could continue this on. I don't think there's a need to reboot it. I think it could wait a few years, and then all of a sudden we're like, hey, let's do another monster movie. Because, like, I mean, we've got a world of monsters out there, literally in the Godzilla mythos, and I don't see any reason you can't throw a few of them Kong's way. You know, Kong never really benefited from villains that way. It was always, you know, the natives on the island, and then New York City, and a bunch of biplanes. So,
really quickly, Pete, before the rest of you answer that, the one disservice that I think Kong had in this arc, I loved Peter Jackson's King Kong for only one thing: ripping a fucking T-Rex's mouth open. I remember as a kid was just like, because then they came out with the video game where you had to tap the button repeatedly to rip the T-Rex's mouth open.
Mm-hmm.
That to me is Kong. That's King Kong. Like, that's where I want us to get to, where he's taking on monsters that he could rip in half, rip armed. Like, I want Kong to get brutal. And obviously, I feel like this Kong is still young. He's still growing. It's why he got his ass whooped, because he's never fought anything like that.
He did that in Skull Island, though. He did that to one of the skull crawlers or whatever. He ripped that guy. Yeah.
He tried on Godzilla in the movie.
And he tried it on Godzilla several
times. He tried
times.
on Godzilla, and I love that. I was just like,
He kind of tried it on that bat thing, too, in the, in the Hollow Earth.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, the dragon bat. Yeah.
But there was a scene in credit to the Peter Jackson film, and they sort of did this with Skull Island, the Skull Island movie, but not this to the same extent. I am a sucker for the giant insect scene all the time, when that one like worm thing just eats the guy's head all slow and shit. And apparently movie legend has it that there was a scene in the 1930s one that got cut because it was just so horrifying for audiences that they couldn't handle it.
They cut
you'll never see it again because apparently it went up with the studio fire in the mid 40s or something. So it's just gone for good.
That's what I want for my monster movies. Like, I don't need my monster movies to be something that's being catered to all mainstream, right? Mm-hmm. Because I do feel as though, like, I kind of approach it to where it's like, and I know I keep making these comparisons, but I'm like, monster movies should kind of be how like we view Spawn and Blade. Can they be PG-13? Of course. Should they be PG-13? Never. So it's like I kind of want my monster movies to be a little bit more violent. Mm-hmm. Because at the end of the day, it's monsters. I don't ever want Kong to beat a monster by just punching him, and then it's like, he's defeated. What? No. That monster is stronger than that. He's going to want to get up and get some blood. So to me, that's why I love Peter Jackson's version. Seeing him rip that T-Rex open, his mouth open to where his jaw just kind of like dangling. I love that because that's the only way to defeat that thing. It's either snapping his neck or that. And I love that it was that because snapping the neck can kind of look a little fake with these monsters, where it's just like you hear it, but it's not really snap. So I'm like, doing that is just like, no, you clearly killed that thing. Like there is no coming back from that.
They could over exaggerate a head snap. Of
Well,
just,
they
like,
did
really-
that with the Skullcrawler in this movie,
Yeah,
where the Mechagodzilla just burns a hole straight down the whole.
straight down.
Yeah,
That was a
Skullcrawler.
dope scene too. That was really cool.
Yep.
It's actually funny because I know this has nothing to do with the movie, but this reminds me of the Red Band trailer of Suicide Squad, where King Shark rips the guy in half. I mean, you only
Yes.
see it's a silhouette, but you still see him ripping him in half.
I love that you say that, Joe, because we were saying
Now,
Pete on our war
opinion
movie
with that.
show. Well, I'm sorry, Jay. Go ahead, Jay.
Does anyone else think that they showed way too much in that Suicide Squad trailer, or is that just me?
I thought they showed.
I say no because I know partial of what that movie is going to be doing, and that's only the surface. That's only the surface.
The trailer did what it had to do, was get me interested in a sequel to a movie I could care less about.
That was
Exactly.
what I was going to say too. Was
And-
Joe? What were your thoughts on that question? You had an answer to that.
About the Suicide Squad or the Godzilla?
You started saying something about did the trailer show too much?
No, I don't. I thought it showed exactly what we needed to see. First of all, I had confidence in James Gunn anyway. Because of Guardians of the Galaxy, but I wasn't really crazy about the first Suicide Squad, so I really didn't know what to expect from this one. But from when I got out of because they showed 2 trailers already. From when I got out of the 2 trailers, I thought they showed just enough.
I think Andrew, you really hit the nail on the head. Was like they have to show enough fun and wow scenes to really overcome the shadow of the first one, which, let's face it, sucked.
They made me want to see that the day it's released on HBO Max.
Yeah, 100%.
Something I can see. Like, let's put it this way: I said before, I still haven't seen Daredevil the season 3. I'll get to it eventually.
You gotta. It was good.
You have to.
No,
it's clearly the best season, in my opinion.
I have no intention of doing it within the next couple of weeks or even month. Whereas Suicide Squad, that trailer that trailer puts people's asses in seats. That's what it comes to.
Yeah.
The old Mick Foley WWE thing. Do you put asses in seats? How do you do it? Well, James Gunn said, this is the trailer I want to release. This is going to get people to forget what happened at the last movie and say, okay, I don't want to see a Suicide Squad movie that was a sequel to a movie I really wasn't enthusiastic about. That sucked. You know what? I need to see this. That's what that trailer tells me.
I will say, Andrew, my biggest thing with this movie is, and I said it on my last podcast, and I don't know anything. This is just me speaking, so I don't want anyone to think I'm spoiling anything. In order for this movie to hit for me, because the trailer essentially didn't really do much for me. I don't think it was bad, but it was just one of those things where it was just like, I was going to see this movie anyway. I didn't need to be convinced. So I'm like, it didn't sway me more. I'm just like, I'm just going to see it anyway. But this movie will only be a success to me if they do the unthinkable and they kill Idris Elba's character. And I say that because if you know the comics, someone dies. Everyone always dies.
I think like half of this cast is going to die.
James Gunn
that's the
already
point.
came out and said that. Yeah.
But to me, here's the thing, right? You look at Pete Davidson's character. He's probably going to die. You look at most of these casts, and you're like, I can see who's going to die. Right. You immediately go, Joel Kinnaman's probably safe. Margot Robbie's 1,000% safe. Boomerang to a degree, because I think they might want to use the rogues for Flash down the road. You kind of think to yourself, could they kill him? And
I think John Cena is going to die.
John Cena's already signed to
he's got a spinoff.
Well, never mind then.
Those could be prequels. Let's
true. That is true. That is true.
Yeah. Be prequels. But to me, the only thing that would catch people off guard is having the balls to kill an A-lister like Idris Elba. You wouldn't see it coming.
See, I had no intention of seeing this movie. It's not a movie I felt I needed to see. Now I feel like I need to see this movie.
I'm like falling between the two of you. Good, sorry.
I needed to see what King Shark looked like. That's what I wanted. I was curious to know what King Shark was going to look like on the screen.
Joe, I want to ask you, did you see the Harley Quinn series?
No.
The poison.
watch it.
So
No.
this King Shark is
Yeah.
loosely like that King
Okay.
Shark. So that King Shark was more comical,
Right.
and that's where James Gunn's going for
Gotcha.
with this.
Okay.
But I wanted to speak to the point you made earlier, Pete. We were talking about this on the horror movie show not this week, this episode last week. When you see King Shark rip the dude, and no one should do this, I'm just a sick individual. But if you slow-mo that,
Mm-hmm.
you see the one half that's being ripped apart is watching the other half
Getting ripped apart.
exactly, and
Yeah.
you see, like the entrails going. I love the authenticity of what a body would look like if it's being ripped in half. And I give James Gunn so much credit to that because he easily could have just went like this and then threw him. You know,
Yep.
but to show what's pretty much inside your body all coming out.
I like that he's being played by Stallone.
Yeah,
Yep.
I do love that. Yeah, I
Yeah.
do love that. That is hilarious.
I feel like King Shark is going to steal that movie, and John Cena is definitely the comic relief of that whole movie.
Definitely.
John Cena is
And those two
fantastic
things
as
sold it for me,
comic.
especially how they did King Shark in that last DC animated movie where he's like, King Shark is a shark, the whole thing.
So good.
he's
And then, like, right
"It's
at
been
the
an
end, he
honor
comes out with
serving
this
you. And he's
fucking-
like, you can fucking talk.
He had like a Silent Bob soliloquy there, and he's like, "You can fucking talk this whole time." That was great. That was so good.
I do
What was
love
that?
that he's essentially using Stallone as his Vin Diesel. Like
Mhm.
essentially King Shark is Groot. And it's the idea of just
Yeah.
like taking someone with a prominent voice and just giving them essentially no lines is some of the most hilarious shit
Yeah.
ever. But no, I love this. To me, my mindset is always the Suicide Squad is not complete until Amanda Waller's handler, who is anyone that knows Slade Wilson, comes into the picture. So till the day I get that, the Suicide Squad movies are never complete. But I will fight back a little bit, Jay. I think everyone in this is comedy relief. I think legit every human being in this movie, in one way or another, serves as a comic relief. I mean, even in the beginning of the trailer, where they, what's his name shows up in front of Harley and he's like, "I'm here to rescue you," and she's like, "Oh, really? Like I didn't really need it, but okay." Like that to me is just like it shows you how hilarious this is going to be.
Or on the rooftop when they're like saying if you
Yeah.
if you do this you'll die, and she's like if
Yeah.
you cough with your mouth open or if you without covering your mouth you will get we will kill you.
Margot Robbie was the only thing good about the original Suicide Squad, and
I
that's not to say, like
Whoa.
she's beautiful, she's fantastic.
I
She's
didn't
a great
mind that.
Harley Quinn.
I didn't mind Will Smith in that.
I
movie
love
at all.
Will Smith and Joker. I think
Yeah.
the three of them were the best things to come out of that.
Well,
I still can't.
mm,
I can't get behind.
I
The
can't
Joker
buy.
thing.
I can't. Even in the Snyderverse version, I wasn't.
No, he's
crazy
No,
about
terrible.
it.
that was horrible. That was drastically different than what we've seen.
Yeah.
The reason I love the Suicide Squad Joker was David Ayer has said numerous times he was going for a modern day version of what the Joker would
I
be.
know.
And I told you, Pete, you look at
I
half
know.
these little horrible rappers, they look exactly like that.
That's not a defense, though.
No, but I'm saying the look of him. I don't think the acting was bad. I don't think the lines were bad. And it's the only time we've ever been given a Joker that's already established. When that dude
That's
heard
true.
that the Joker was looking for him, and then that freezer scene,
Yeah.
we've never had anything like that, and that was so genuine of the fear Joker causes in Gotham, and I loved it.
I like that. No, the setup for that was absolutely fantastic. I agree, and I want to give Jared Leto a chance because I don't dislike the man as an actor or a musician or what have you.
Yeah.
It's the look itself. I know he was going for this modern take, but I don't vibe with the gangster Joker ever. I don't vibe with that was like a Heath Ledger on fucking Too Much Coffee or something, like the makeup all over the place. I don't want that either. I want a nice, clean cut, ridiculously crazy, up here Michael Turner style smile. Give me the purple suit any day, although I do really like the flak vest with all the cop badges on it. That was dope and really disturbing at the same time. So if I get like that clean cut, a bit better looking Joker, like the Joker's insane, but he's not a slob. Like I don't.
No, but to me, I loved it because to me, you know how like some people love artwork that kind of is like ripped and torn, like they feel as though it gives it like some, like some, I don't know, like it gives it a bit of edge.
Little
Vintage.
Tennessee Crocker.
I love the full purple trench coat. I love the cane. I love that this Joker is so obsessed with himself that he allowed Harley to tattoo damaged on his forehead. I love that. I love the J on his cheek. I love the fact that Batman beat all of his teeth out, so he had to get a grill.
That's the one exception. I accepted the grills. I did, because that's a valid point. He knocked his fucking teeth out.
Wasn't
Okay.
it said that it was teasing, or it was supposedly teasing, or there was rumors that he was teasing that he was going to be the Jason Todd version of the Joker?
Yes, and that was. Sorry, I'm dedicated to Batman, so this whole world is like my whole life essence.
Right.
So that frustrated me beyond belief that people would even theorize. Like, I know a lot of people are like, maybe the J on his cheek is Jason, and I'm like, his name's Joker. That starts with a J.
Yeah.
Why did you jump to Jason? Like, what? That's not even logical. But what I hated most about that was there is no Jason Todd in the DCEU. There was only one Robin, and that one Robin is dead. So I'm like, that didn't even make any sense. I'm like, BVS kind of told you. There's only one. There wasn't numerous. There was one, and he was dead. And he never got another Robin again, which I did respect, because I'm like, that is a little bit more believable. A kid died, so you kind of go, I'm not going to replace him with another kid. Like,
the only reason why I bought into that, though, is because of the fact that we were teased, or I thought we were getting a Nightwing movie. So I thought Dick Grayson.
We were supposed to get a Nightwing movie. Only problem with that was it was never going to be canon, because Zach had come out and said the Robin whose suit was sitting there was Dick Grayson.
Okay.
Again, another reason why everyone's
Gotcha.
Zack Snyder had a great vision. I'm like, a great vision. He wanted to kill Batman, kill the only Robin.
He's like, maybe this isn't the world for
If
kids.
they had
Like,
anyone leading the charge for DC movies, they would have brought in the guy who plays Robin from Teen Titans, which I would have been fine with.
All they should have done was say that was his Robin, and I would have loved that. Like, again, I thought they shouldn't have brought in Bruce Wayne. Bruce Wayne should have been someone that they only talked about, right? And then you see, like, maybe as like an end credit scene, that it's Ben's Batman that Robin is connected to, because that Robin was clearly made in an image of Ben's Batman. He was brutal. I mean, brutal. And if you read the comics, Nightwing is not that. He is not that. Why Bruce trusts him so much, because he's the light of Bruce. He would never go that far. So that's why I was like, okay, it's interesting you made Nightwing beat someone almost to death. Okay.
While we're on the subject of Batman, and since it just came out yesterday, did everybody see the Long Halloween trailer?
Not yet.
No. Oh man.
I gotta see.
All right,
the
Joe,
trailer.
we're gonna trade trailers then, because I gotta go watch the Ghostbusters shit. Well, not a trailer, a clip that you mentioned came out, and you need to see the Long Halloween trailer.
Oh, it is good. And Joe, in case you didn't know, the first one is PG-13, but the sequel is rated R.
Okay.
So I'm really curious as to what they couldn't do or didn't want to do in the first, that they're going to go balls to the wall with that second one.
Yeah.
I need to reread the series.
DC's animated
Jay,
series,
what'd you think
they've
of
been
it?
pushing the limit for their rated R stuff lately.
Yeah.
Well, weren't they
Like
rumoring
that
with
last
the
Justice League movie, that blew me away with how brutal they were.
That was beautiful.
Pattinson's Batman? Weren't they rumoring for a while that was the storyline they were going to use? Was the Long Halloween?
No, they are, but it's only parts of it. Parts of it.
Okay.
I think most of the parts of it might be what involves Catwoman. But it is taken loosely from it, like very loosely from it. Yeah. But anytime you see multiple villains in a Batman movie, Long Halloween is usually the first thing to jump to. It's like, okay. It's either that or Hush that you see all these come up from.
As a Supernatural fan since almost day one, it was really great finally having Jensen Ackles as Batman. And I mean, the man, every time you listen to Dean Winchester speak on Supernatural, you're like, the man needs to be Batman. Like, he's got that voice down to a friggin' science. Like, he doesn't even have to modulate
from
at all.
Supernatural.
Yeah.
No, there was a scene from Supernatural where he takes a pen, tosses it, and it lands directly in the barrel of a guy's gun, and he just goes, I'm Batman. And ever since then, everybody's wanted him to play either Jason Todd or Batman.
That was a funny episode too, and that wasn't just it was literally a lucky shot. There was like some luck magic to do with that. But yeah, you're right. Ever since he actually said, "I'm Batman," that's all we wanted.
I wanted to add something really quick, Pete. Do you guys kind of feel from that Batman trailer, the Robert Pattinson's Batman trailer? Do you guys believe, because it's the first thing I thought when I saw it. By the way, I cried when I saw that trailer. But the first thing I thought when I saw that, to where you're getting the corruption that's different than what we've ever seen in the movies. The end of that trailer, when I assume it's his dad saying, like, one day you'll see. And then, you know, he's kind of questioning it, and he's like, you know, you'll see. I immediately thought they're going the route of his father was corrupt. And it's a really good chance that sequel is going to give us the Court of the Owls. Did anybody else get a Court of the Owls feel?
They've been rumoring Court of Owls to be implemented into one of the Batman movies for quite some time. The Court of the Owls has been probably one of the best modern-day villains across any comic book, I've actually believed.
Yep.
That actually seems like it wasn't forced. It was actually seamlessly inserted into the whole Batman mythos. I mean, like, as much as people love Venom, you know, that always seemed a little bit forced to me that the comic book was something like that. This was just seamless. That the city corruption, that the elite of Gotham, that they would try to manipulate. As Pete loves his conspiracy theories. I don't know if anyone knows that. So this was the Illuminati of Gotham, basically raising their own superhero to be their enforcer and have a series of them with all the owls.
It's almost as if you're implying that rich people could do anything they fucking want with their money. And would they actually do that? No, of course not, because they're all good people.
They are.
They are. They're really good.
I got my vaccine and my cell phone bandwidth hasn't improved, so I don't know what you're talking about.
Have you tried to move? Has the remote ever been on the other side of the couch and you look at the remote like this? And like,
no,
does it help you this time?
I only use Apple TV. No. That's called Jedi mind trick, not 5G inserted into your nervous system.
That's nanobots. It's nanobots.
No, it's not. But yeah,
no.
I've heard that they are actually, bringing in the Court of Owls. It's a no-brainer. DC would, and the best part about this is the one thing I think people always forget about movies. Like, which are your characters that are most likely to survive are the ones that you don't have to pay actors to portray. Anyone can be in Chewbacca's in the Chewbacca costume.
Yeah.
Right.
Anyway, Chewbacca is not going anywhere. Anyway, C-3PO and R2-D2. R2-D2 will be in any spin-off you ever want to make him because Kenny Baker's dead, but it doesn't take much to have a remote-controlled robot walking around. Yeah. The Court of Owls, anyone can be under a series of those masks.
Well, to me, the biggest thing, Andrew, is the Court of the Owls, well, not necessarily led, but I guess you can say is led by talent. Mm-hmm. So to me, once I saw that they made Robert Pattinson Batman and it looks like it works, I'm kind of like, I don't have any expectations.
He gets a lot of shit. He gets a lot of shit for being in Twilight. But if you take a look at a lot of his other movies, Pattinson's actually a pretty fine actor. He's done a lot. He has a wealth of a body of work. It's sort of like, you know what I mean? It's sort of like he's like the modern, almost the Heath Ledger, where he was like the pretty boy that everyone was like, they got the pretty boy to play the Joker, and we're still talking about it 7 years after his death.
But they said that. I mean, they said that about Keaton. They said that about Keaton when Keaton was announced. They said that about Affleck.
Yep.
I thought Affleck's Batman was probably one of the best.
Yep.
I mean, that's my opinion. I don't know what you guys feel, but I love Affleck's Batman. Yep. I've been saying if you put Affleck's Batman in Nolan's trilogy, it's perfect.
Yeah,
it's absolutely perfect. I mean, I know it's two different. I know the tone of Batman from Zack's, Ben Affleck's Batman's tone is different from what was in Nolan, but you take away Bale's growl, and you have the voice modification that Affleck uses is perfect. So I feel like everybody complains about certain actors filling a role that they're like, like you said, even Heath Ledger. Like I can't see Heath Ledger doing it.
It
the
all
guy
stems from Clooney and Kelmer.
Yeah.
That no
that's
one has
also
any trust
what's his
in
name?
the new actor that's going to be
That's
playing
Schumacher.
Batman.
Yeah.
Right.
Schumacher just made a.
What I love about what Matt Reeves is doing with this Robert Pattinson's Batman, in the comics, I'm always a fan of the Batman that prefers to be Batman more than Bruce Wayne. Like doesn't go out to parties, doesn't show up to board meetings. His interest is only keeping the streets of Gotham safe.
Got it.
And this one seems tortured. When you see him in this, he does not smile not one time in this entire trailer. He seems very tortured. And I personally think Warner Brothers right now, with all this Josh Whedon shit that's going on, since it's wrapped filming, a trailer should be coming out soon to kind of just get the narrative away. But I just love a torture, and I'm gonna call it now. Even though I think Jeremy Irons was the greatest Alfred we've had to date, I think I'm gonna love what you call it. Oh man, he played in Lord of the Rings, the most.
Hold on, I'm on the IMDb right now. Andy Serkis.
Andy Serkis, thank you.
Oh,
Andy
yeah.
Serkis is going to be probably my favorite.
I forgot too.
I forgot he's out. Yeah.
I forgot he was Alfred.
Because you only hear him in the trailer of,
Yeah.
You seem like quite a celebrity.
Yeah.
And I don't know, the casting for everybody in this, even Paul Dano, as the Riddler.
Yeah.
You hear that casting and you go, that's stupid. But when you see how creative Matt Reeves, his Riddler, sorry, I think I said Joker. Riddler, I meant. The Riddler, he's not the Riddler yet. So
Nope.
the tape around him to where, like, it's just what he's building is so.
Oh, forget that.
Colin Farrell.
Yeah, Colin Farrell. Everyone was looking to see, where's Colin Farrell in this trailer? And then you had to realize, oh, wait, he's the Penguin. And then you had to go back in the trailer and say, wait a minute, that's Colin Farrell?
Yeah.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep.
Colin
And I
Farrell.
love it because he's also not Penguin yet. So
Yeah.
Catwoman, you see her with the mask. She's not Catwoman yet. This Batman is still relatively new. And I did like the theory someone threw out there of the kids that Batman's beating up.
Yeah.
They have a leader. And that leader is someone who's rising very quickly through the ranks.
Can I say the only
Joker.
thing I did not like about the Batman trailer?
Wait a second. Who are you implying here, Juwaan? I'm not sure.
The Joker.
Oh, okay, Joker. Got it.
Yeah.
That it's possible that that's the Joker's men, but
Okay.
obviously he's not the Joker yet.
Yeah.
So
And they said it was, people were believing that it was Gang of Jokers right now.
Yeah.
right.
And then that he becomes the
Yep.
The only thing I didn't like about the trailer, and I'm sorry, I want to see something more than a regular car. I'm not digging the Batmobile yet.
Let me say this, Andrew. I can almost guarantee you that is not the final Batmobile.
Okay, you
That
get
is
what
very
I'm talking about, right?
I do. I
don't
didn't
need-
like it either.
I don't need the super ribbed up version that they had with the.
I agree. Okay, so
was it the one
where I
with
agree
Jim
with
Carrey? You know what I'm talking about? What
yes,
was
okay. So
I
what
don't
I
need
agree
that.
with you.
I don't
What I
need.
agree with you on is, to me, the Tumblr was stupid. Why? Because a Batmobile in the comics and in the cartoons can weave in and out of traffic.
Oh.
That big ass thing you could only bring out on the rarest of seasons.
I like how they portrayed it though, but it was more of a smashing Batmobile. It looked more. It didn't fit. It didn't really always go through traffic like that. It did hit cars. It did have the rock and tumbles of the city.
It wasn't, to me, it just wasn't practical.
I
The
liked
Batmobile
it. I liked it far better than the Jim Carrey one with the giant fin on the back.
Oh
I
yeah.
will never disagree with that.
When it get but that's when it got cartoony with Joe
Yeah.
Schumacher.
Once
Right,
again, yes,
but to me-
Schumacher
Yeah.
should be put
All
down.
right, so Juwaan,
Ben's Batmobile was more practical. It was
what's your
large,
best-
but it was still
what's
practical.
your favorite Batmobile then?
The Batmobile in the trailer?
No, what's your favorite of all the Batman incarnation, all the movies we've seen, going back to 80, going back to 66?
I was about to say that one of my favorite Batmobiles of all time is the Futura, the original from Adam West.
Okay.
I do like that one. I remember having the little mini car. I can also say I didn't mind Michael Keaton's first Batman, the Batmobile.
Yeah, that's probably my favorite. That's probably, to me,
Keaton's was my
practicality.
favorite also.
I was 11 years old when it came out. I remember having the car. I mean, it's also when it comes to Batmobiles, it's what what gives you that nostalgia feeling, and just having that Batmobile. I loved it when I first saw it on the screen. The Tumbler didn't work for me.
Tumblr did not work for me at all.
Yeah, I wasn't crazy about the Tumbler in Nolan's trilogy. I wasn't. Yeah.
But I will say, to me, the best Batmobile, and it hasn't been done yet, and I hope maybe Robert Pattinson's Batman doesn't look like it's going to be heavy in technology. It looks like it's supposed to just be dark and gritty.
Yeah.
But my favorite kind of Batmobile is the one that's like a really nice sports car that transforms into the Batmobile.
Oh, the one around like 86 in the comics, 85.
What about this?
I don't mind that. To me, I don't like the
Oh,
length.
that's cool. What is that?
I
Like the
don't mind
1920s
that.
version?
That's the Art Deco. That's an Art Deco design. It looks like a cross between the one from the animated series to. It's got to be based off of one of the animated series.
That's
I
looks
think
like
it was
the
the animated
Golden Age
series
Batman.
one. Yeah.
The 90s, yeah.
That's
The Kevin Conroy.
Jay, what about you? What was you had something up there?
Yeah.
you were gonna say some favorite Batmobile, perhaps? Before I go and show off mine.
Yeah, let's see it.
Which was the Superpowers Batman was my favorite Batmobile. This is my original Batmobile from when I was a kid. And I
Nice.
mean, who doesn't dig a convertible?
Where is
Yeah.
Scooby-Doo?
I don't need Scooby-Doo, man. I was a Super Friends fan.
No, but
I-
wasn't he in the Scooby-Doo? Didn't they meet up with Batman and Robin?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
That was
Yes,
the
they did.
Batmobile that was in it. I remember Scooby-Doo was in that thing.
Honestly, Pete, I remember I told you this, but I told you. Remember, I think my mom got rid of it. But my all-time favorite Batmobile, honestly, is the Arkham Knight one, the one from Arkham
Ooh.
Knight.
The video
Okay.
game?
Favorite, yep, that is my
Yeah.
favorite Batmobile.
All right, yeah, I remember
is
that one.
the
Yeah,
best one. And like the back opens where he can put prisoner. Like it's just, I love a Batmobile that does more than just operate as a car.
I wasn't considering that. That was a pretty sick Batmobile.
what'd you think about the one that was in Snyderverse, the tank,
I
or
love
whatever it was called?
the one with the guns in the front, or the
No, the one that we barely saw. It wasn't in action. We just saw it.
Oh,
the
I
one-
know which one you're talking about.
the one with the
That's
legs.
actually from The Dark Knight Returns. That's
Okay.
from The Dark Knight Returns.
Yeah.
But Zach didn't. He did. You only saw Batman
a-
standing on it.
It was
at
a
the
still or something like that. It was a
Right.
still shot of him standing on it.
Yeah, that's from The Dark Knight Returns because
Okay.
you can even see the villains from The Dark Knight Returns
Yeah.
in front of it. Well,
Yeah.
behind it, I guess.
I actually liked the one in Batman versus Superman.
That I didn't mind it. I didn't mind it.
It-
Very
I,
nice.
I like the fact that it looked like a cross between an airplane with the cockpit front. No, I like that one. I
Yep.
didn't mind the guns on it. I didn't mind Keaton. Everyone forgets Keaton's had guns. What do you?
Yeah.
What do you think, Batman just wanted to shoot out a garage door?
Yeah,
Well, to be
That's
honest
true.
with you, the Batmobile can always have guns. I
Right.
just want Batman to have guns. So,
True.
like to me, a Batmobile with guns has always been the case. But Batman shooting and killing people, no.
Now I did like the only thing I did like from the tumbler is that when it exploded, it turned into the bat cycle, or whatever that, was
cool.
called.
That was
That was
a
cool.
little
That was a
aspect
cool
of it.
scene.
Yeah.
That was a cool scene. That
I
it
wouldn't argue that
ejected.
at all.
Yeah, I did like that. That was the one thing I did like about the tumbler in Nolan's verse.
But
Did
yeah,
like
I
that.
definitely do think you guys said it before. Ben's was the best of both.
Yeah.
I just regret that they went so old for his Batman.
Yeah.
I regret that we'll never, outside of just closing out his arc in Flashpoint, see him as Batman again. But as someone who was raised by Batman the Animated Series, like on the tail end of it, heading into Batman Beyond, his Bruce Wayne looks exactly like that animated Bruce Wayne. Everything, mannerisms, the smirk, everything.
Even the chin, he's got the chin.
Then the chin, and
Yeah,
no one cares, but that is very important.
it
Like
is.
that's what I had to kind of grow with, and I'm gonna have to grow with Robert Pattinson's Batman.
Yeah,
The chin just doesn't seem full enough.
Bruce Timm established the need for the chin. Let's face
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And
So-
it's a need that Ben's Batman met, and then his Batman was just as good as his Bruce Wayne.
Yes.
Like we've never had both.
We've never had both, right?
Yeah.
Gotten close, but I don't think we've ever had both.
close.
Close.
You know what? Actually, like while we're on the subject of like Bruce Wayne in and of itself, it's kind of a throwaway line, and nobody really touched on it the times that I've talked about the Snyder Cut. But my favorite of favorite lines in the whole movie was, "This is Alfred. I work for him."
Yeah.
I loved it. That
Well,
was such
you know
a
what?
respect to how much he does for him. Like, I work for him.
I
Throw it away.
love that line, Pete. It was my favorite line until I got to the end of the movie, and he was just like, "Make no mistake, I will fucking kill you." And I was just
That's
like,
a good
"There
one.
we go. That's
was
This
good.
coming from someone you don't want to see Batman kill.
no, but I just loved how he delivered and cursing. Like I don't think I've ever heard Batman in a live action curse. So
Yeah, I
caught me
tolerate
off guard.
that because that's a Batman. At that point, forget Batman killing in BVS.
Right.
That was nonsense to me. But at that point, that is a Batman who is so fed up. Like, I'm going to fucking kill you. Like, yeah, now I buy it. Now you can do it. Now
Yeah.
I got it.
To me, it was just how he delivered it, to where it was very matter of fact of just like, let's just be clear. When we're done, I will kill you. It
Yeah.
was just like I loved it.
I got another Batman question for you. Ready?
Mhm.
I want you to fan cast. You get anyone.
Mhm.
You're now doing your Batman Beyond movie. Who do you bring back as old Bruce Wayne? Do you bring back? Hold on. Do you bring back Keaton, or do you bring back older Ben Affleck?
I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to allow someone else to answer this. I hate the idea of Batman Beyond. I always have, always will. To me, Batman is legit Bruce till he dies. Literally till he dies.
All right.
I don't like. I mean, is it an aesthetic that maybe in on the big screen would look cool? Yeah, I honestly think Robert Pattinson. Before I saw the trailer, I thought he would have been a better Terry McGinnis than he would Bruce Wayne.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, Michael Keaton to me mainly because if you look at Keaton now, he kind of looks like the old Bruce in the cartoons. So I'm like, that's kind of just spot on.
Got the bald spot and the sweet hair coming out in the front.
Right.
I like that question actually. Let's throw that one around. Jay, who would you cast for? Well, I mean, Keaton, Affleck, or someone else?
See, I'm going to double down with Juwaan. I was going to go with Keaton as the old Batman. He was doing a college, like he was the guest speaker at some college graduation. I have 2 words. I'm Batman, and it's just like hits home for me with Michael Keaton being Batman because that's the nostalgia, and he was my first introduction into the world of Batman. So I'm going with Keaton, and then I would like to see Patterson as a Terry McGinnis instead of what it looks like maybe a year 2 Batman.
Hmm.
It is year 2.
It is year 2. Okay, I didn't know that for sure. Joe, what about you? What do you think?
I go Keaton. I do. Ben Affleck is too new.
Mhm.
It's too recent. We just came out. He was just Batman. We've had a long absence of Keaton being Batman. He's going to reprise the role in the Flash. Is that still happening with him in the Flash or no?
He doesn't know. Yeah.
The more he says it, no. But the
Right.
reason why I say yes is the only promotional art they have for that movie is of his Batman with Flash.
And they
So
pretty
I'm
much
just
have to
like-
say no, like until the shit comes out.
Of
Like
course.
they're probably
course.
contractually obligated.
Isn't
He might-
Toby saying no? Isn't Tobey Maguire saying no to the whole
Yes, right.
Spider-Man
Well,
3 thing?
Just really quickly, Joe, and I love your shirt, by the way. Been
Thank
waiting
you.
to say that.
Yeah, thank you. My favorite.
I do want people to wrap their heads around the idea of there might not be any other Spider-Man in this movie.
I'm bracing myself for that only because I don't want to be disappointed when it comes out. I am.
Okay, so in my mind, really quickly, the reason that Octavius is from the first Spider-Man and we have Electro from the second Spider-Man is I do believe it's him traveling through the multiverse of different timelines. And in traveling through that, in one timeline, that's Doc Ock. In another timeline, that's Electro. I don't think they're gonna go the route of he runs into that Peter Parker. Then he runs into that Peter Parker.
Oh, wait, so you're saying Holland Spider-Man is the one that's traveling through time?
Right.
Yeah, that's what's going to happen.
The multiverse.
Oh, I thought the multiverse was coming. I thought it was going to mesh in with the almost kind of like the animated movie where it meshes with.
It very likely could, but do you remember in that animated movie there were pockets of different realities,
right?
That existed. I think we'll see him travel through those.
Okay.
Because remember, on this continuity, he's essentially his identity's been outed.
Yeah.
He is branded somewhat to some people as a murderer. So I could see them kind of taking a break from that and him traveling through. And that's where he fights Electro, he fights Doc Ock. To me, that's more realistic. But ultimately, I would love for a Sinister Six to assemble in this movie.
We were all
and
hoping for that for a while.
3 Spider-Men to defeat the Six.
Yeah.
That to me would visually pop.
And top it off, fucking cherry on top, let Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man die as like not only a send-off, but kind of, since we've never touched on the whole Uncle Ben thing, just let that be the Uncle Ben-esque death scene.
See, only reason I wouldn't want that is the MCU has already established his version of Uncle Ben was Stark. So I'm kind of like, it wouldn't hit as hard again because you've already had that moment with Stark just died.
What if, and I'm just throwing this out there,
Do it.
What if that Spider-Man happens to be Ben Parker? That's the Ben Parker from Enter the Spider-Verse.
That's what a lot of
not the cartoon, but the comics. That was Ben Parker who got the spider bite instead of Peter, and Peter was the one who got killed.
No matter how this movie ends, I'm telling you now, because I absolutely do agree with you that it's Peter Parker traveling through the multiverse. It's not the other way around. That this is going to, you have to rectify two things in this movie. Because he signed on supposedly for this one to collaborate with Marvel, and I think he signed on for a second movie. All right?
No, the second movie. So the deal is this, and then an Avengers movie.
Right, that's what I'm saying. It's an Avengers movie. So you have to reestablish his identity over again. You can either do it through the way the comics did by using Doctor Strange to fix the whole problem. But what happened? I think you're going to cause another bunch of fans going absolutely crazy as far as how does time travel in the multiverse work if he enters into the multiverse and automatically comes out, and then people are left wondering what Marvel universe is he in when he gets to that Avengers movie.
I'm telling you right now, Ramon will chuck his popcorn at the screen.
Right.
If there's too much time travel.
I also think that you're more likely to see Miles Morales in animated form come through in this next Spider-Man movie, that there could be an animated sequence before you're going to see Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield.
Well, also remember, Andrew, Miles exists in the MCU.
Oh, yeah, his uncle with, what's his face? With Childish Gambino.
Yeah.
Donald Glover. Thank you.
So
I almost said Donald Sutherland, and I'm like, I know I'm wrong, but that's what my brain is computing right now after fucking
Could
8
you
shots.
picture if that was Donald Sutherland? I don't know. To me, I want everyone to temper their expectations.
No, you cannot possibly utter that sentence.
I'm not doing it. Reed Richards. It's going to be Reed Richards at the end of this movie.
You got Alfred Molina. You have Jamie Foxx. So the rumors are that Charlie Cox is definitely everyone's buzzing saying that Charlie Cox is in it.
Right.
I think that's what's going to happen.
You wanted to say something. What you got?
What?
Jay, did you want to?
At the end of this movie, if they bring in so at the end of this movie, if they bring in Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield, I'm going to say they're going to be Skrulls.
I would love for them to be Skrulls. I think that would be fine.
We had them in the
they
last
should have been
movie.
Skrulls
We had
for the
them in the last
friggin'
movie.
See, but that's okay. That's why I hate time travel, multiverse, and scrolls. Because then you end up questioning everything. Then if you do that, then you're gonna have people come up and go.
That's the point. They're gonna be doing Secret Invasion.
No, but I think the reason Secret Invasion is a show and not a movie is because I think they want to tame it. They want to make it more consolidate to where it's like we're not now theorizing. Well, maybe Stark was a Skrull. Maybe Ross was.
Okay.
They want to kind of condense it so it's more like maybe Maria Hill's a Skrull, and we have to see Fury navigate through that. I don't think it's going to be a wide thing because once you open that net, you'll have people going, well, that's how you bring Chris Evans back because that was a Skrull. That wasn't really Cap. Right. That's how you can bring Stark back. That wasn't really Stark.
All I want is Black Widow as the Skrull. That's all I care
She's coming back.
Bring
keep
back
her
Scarlet.
dead. Keep her dead.
No, Scarlet is way too hot to not be in these movies.
I agree. What was the original?
Think right, Juwaan.
I'm shallow.
What was the original timeline before the pandemic? What was supposed to come out first, Doctor Strange 2 or Spider-Man 3?
Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange is supposed to have already been.
I was under the impression, even after WandaVision, that the aftermath of WandaVision is what causes the rift.
Yeah, wait, no. Spider-Man 3 was always supposed to come out before Doctor Strange 2.
It was?
Are you sure? I thought it was Doctor Strange 2 as well.
It was Doctor Strange 2. Because WandaVision was supposed to come out, and then right after it was Doctor Strange.
Supposed to tie in. Right. Doctor Strange 2 was supposed to tie in.
You had Avengers Endgame and then Spider-Man 3. Spider-Man 3 was the epilogue.
No.
Spider-Man 2 was the epilogue.
No, that's Homecoming.
Oh, that's
that's Far From Home. Far From Home.
Andrew,
you're thinking 2. Joe's talking about 3. It was supposed to be Doctor Strange.
That's why I thought the events of WandaVision and also Doctor Strange 2, which is the multiverse of madness, was the reason why there was a rift in the multiverse.
It's a 3-part arc. It's arc. It's Wanda, Spider-Man, Doctor Strange. But also the connective tissue, it's reaching here, but the connective tissue between WandaVision and Spider-Man, besides the multiverse opening.
Loki?
No. There's a board when you check out the set photos of Tom Holland walking,
I tried doing that. Tell me how you did.
the board has missing children. If you remember, in WandaVision,
Right.
it was rumors of a bunch of missing children.
Right.
If anyone knows New Jersey, where that is or where that
No one knows
Westview is, I know, Pete. Where Westview is, as far as where in actual New Jersey, it's not that far from New York.
Right.
So it's very possible that those kids could have been taken from there, and that they're missing because of what happened from WandaVision.
Right.
So that could be the loose connection. But I do want to say, Pete, I'm not going down this rabbit hole again. But we do know in the comics, the way Peter Parker is able to get his identity back is Mephisto. So I'm just saying, I'm just praying we see Mephisto maybe.
So
No. In the comics, he got his no.
I have the timeline for pre-COVID for Marvel. If anyone wants to hear it.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was originally going to be Black Widow, then Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Eternals,
Mm-hmm.
Shang-Chi, WandaVision, Doctor Strange, Loki, What If, Hawkeye, and then Thor: Love and Thunder.
Wow, that is totally altered now.
Yeah.
That's why I think why I think Spider-Man wasn't supposed to be part of this 3-part arc. I think it's something that happened, and that they were kind of just like, well,
They may have done Spider-Man 3 as like a sort of epilogue / cause and effect. Like this is the effect of all of that,
right?
And that's the shit that happened.
That's what I.
It was
That's what I
rumored
thought.
before COVID that Spider-Man 3 was supposed to be Kraven.
Right.
Right.
We were even looking
And
for Joel
not for
Kinnaman.
nothing, I would openly accept a mixture of Moreland and Kraven. Like instead of Kraven just being like a hunter from Africa who gets hired to hunt down Spider-Man by, like, let's say the Chameleon or whatever. If he's an interdimensional spider hunter, I'm totally open to that. Rather than have to figure out who the fuck Moreland and the Inheritors are and all of that, you just make it Kraven the Hunter. And honestly, like, I don't know who there are rumors that they want Keanu Reeves or whatever. Unacceptable to me.
By the way, he turned that down. By the way,
thank God. Honestly, they need to get the dude that voiced Colossus in Deadpool. God, I can't. I interviewed the guy.
Steven Kapicic.
Yes,
we interviewed him.
Stefan Kapicic. Yeah, he's so awesome, and he needs to be Kraven. He's got the voice, he's got the look, the height, the stature, everything about that man screams Kraven.
I want to throw out, Pete, because you do love your conspiracy theories.
Yes,
I want to throw 2 out to you guys. I love it, Andrew. I want to throw 2 out to you guys, right?
Andrew's like, how is he going to mix Spider-Man and conspiracies? Andrew just got very afraid.
Then I got a Falcon and Winter Soldier question after you.
Oh, no, you can go first if you want to go first. Go ahead.
No. Go ahead. You talking. Go ahead.
So part of my conspiracy theory will lead into your Falcon and Winter Soldier. So that's a perfect setup.
Okay.
My first one is, you guys know about the show Armored Wars, right? Where it's War Machine.
Yeah.
I believe that we will see the return of Justin Hammer, right? But I think the person that is behind Justin Hammer's interest in Stark Tech is none other than Norman Osborn.
Oh, wow. That's good.
How we get Norman Osborn.
You talking for his glider?
No. I think Norman just wants the business sense.
Okay.
Being the guy that swallows up Stark Industries. So when he creates Norman or Oscorp. Thank you. I'm sorry. Oscorp. That's it. He's the only one in
I like that.
Right?
Okay.
That's conspiracy. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry, Andrew.
I actually disagree with you, and for a more practical reason. I think that they've actually squandered so many villains that you're left with only 2 real big bads of the Marvel Universe. Dr. Doom, which they finally have back. You could argue Magneto, whatever, but I really still think your big 2 in the Marvel Universe is Dr. Doom and Norman Osborn. Mm-hmm. So unless you're hammering out a deal for more than just one Avengers movie and one standalone Spider-Man movie, that Marvel isn't going to introduce, allow, or borrow, because they still have to ask permission for Norman Osborn from Galactus. Galactus isn't a villain. Galactus is an event.
He better be the
Turning-
main event.
Yeah, but that's like we talked
really
about.
quickly, Andrew. I want to throw this out. Here's why that's never a concern for me, right? If you're Sony, you just made a Morbius movie, right?
Mhm.
Let's say that Morbius movie doesn't really sell.
That's
sell your part
the same thing.
No, hold on. Do you know how you can sell your part two?
Sony will use Norman Osborn, but
No,
bring
I'm
Norman
saying-
Osborn into the Marvel universe.
I'm saying I think Sony will be more open because if I'm Kevin Feige, I'm saying, look, let's strike a deal. And if they're playing hardball, I'll just go, look, you're telling me right now, Sony, that if I give you permission to use Blade in your second Morbius movie, you wouldn't want Mahershala Ali to go against or to
Now
go
you're
with
agreeing with that's the whole point. You're agreeing with me. You have to have a hammered out deal where you can have multiple pictures with Norman Osborn. You're doing Norman Osborn. You don't want one picture of Norman Osborn.
Well,
Very
that
fair.
was
Well,
the
remember-
idea originally, was to have they're going to be the separation of the Marvel movies of, Avengers and whatever cosmic Marvel goes to outer space, and that's probably where you're going to get Galactus, and to some extent even like Doctor Doom and Surfer or whatever. And on the surface, on Earth, you're going to have Spider-Man, and these are going to be those other 10 movies where you have the buildup of Galactus and whatnot there, and you have the buildup of Norman Osborn and the Sinister Six here.
But
And
the biggest thing is, Pete, we have to remember.
yeah, I know they only
Feige-
go a few movies at a time, but I guarantee you,
But
money
also-
talks. They're going to sign those deals.
No, I agree with you. And the biggest reason why is Feige has set this MCU up now that Spider-Man is the face of it. That's
Mhm.
clearly what he did.
Yeah,
It's
100%.
why they bent over backwards to get that deal done. He
Right.
is clearly the face of the MCU, right? And if you're Sony, here's why you sign that deal before that Avengers movie comes out. Venom versus Carnage, right? That's your sequel. That third movie can't be Venom versus Carnage again. It has to be Venom, Carnage, Spider-Man.
Right.
100%.
And the best way to sell that is to tell your audience that Venom and Carnage could show up down the line in the MCU.
Absolutely.
So that to be the only reason fans accepted that Venom movie is for the idea that Spider-Man would be
Absolutely.
At some point, and hopefully in this sequel, even as just a quick
Because
shot.
I'll tell you now, I was actually told that the original end credit scene that they had for Venom was that it was a field trip that ends in San Francisco, and the last person off that bus was Peter Parker.
Interesting.
But it got scrapped because
Yep.
Feige said, I don't know what Amy promised y'all, but no, he's not in the MCU. Not happening. So to me, I think Norman Osborn is someone Feige wants to use. And remember, that suit that Don Cheadle was parading himself around in Iron Man 3, that's Norman Osborn's suit.
Right.
not Rudy's. So it is a can that I believe Feige always had in his mind to kick down the road.
Yeah, you can't
No better time.
you can't have them for one. Like you said,
Yeah.
you have to have at least 3 or 4 pictures of Norman Osborn
Right.
running around behind the scenes.
The build up to
Well,
the
And
guy.
the biggest thing is there is a void. We don't have that pretty boy millionaire or billionaire rather
Mhm.
in the MCU that we're used to having with Stark. Norman Osborn fits that to a T. He can even come in and be like, look, I see everything Stark did. I want to continue it. They view him as like the savior. And then behind the scenes, he's forming the Dark Avengers. He's doing all kinds of craziness behind the scenes.
I would even
Norman
go a
Osborn
step
is.
further and accept the idea of him taking Peter as, an aspiring science student under his wings. So Peter, he fills that void in Peter of the lost father figure of Tony Stark. So it really fucking hurts when
Yep,
he
that's
turns
true.
to the Green Goblin.
Yep,
Boy.
I'm with you on that.
But
Mhm.
it hasn't been told yet who bought Stark Tower, right?
No,
Because
it's still up
I
in
can
the air.
almost guarantee
it's the
that
Baxter Building.
it's probably only reason I say it's going to be the Baxter Building is because the guy who's been directing all these Spider-Man movies is now directing
It's
Fantastic.
Fantastic Four.
And the other thing
so-
is, like, you
I mean-
could have like a bit of a contention of maybe Norman Osborn lost the bid to Reed Richards for the building, and now there's like a little rivalry there too. So you could have him bouncing around through different movies of just being a corporate dickhead.
The other thing though, too, what year of school is Peter in now? I know the blip messes things up.
Junior
but is he
year, I think.
No, it didn't mess it up because he technically didn't actually. Well, I don't want to say serve like it's in the military, but he didn't actually fulfill those years of school.
Right.
Well, 5 years hasn't passed for Peter.
Right. No, I know. So what year is he then?
I think he's a junior now. Like he was a sophomore, I believe, in
Far From Home.
Far From Home. So he should be a junior now.
But my point is, where's Harry Osborn?
I don't think they have any interest in Harry Osborn. It's why Ned's there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think they are going to go the Hobgoblin route.
Hobgoblin with Ned, yeah.
I hope not, but
well, I wouldn't mind him. I don't want him to be the Hobgoblin, but the idea of a frame up and he's the Hobgoblin, I'm amenable to that. Like Peter all of a sudden feels betrayed by his best friend, but his best friend's like, wasn't me. I'm okay with it.
The only reason I don't like it is I don't like a goblin that exists before Green Goblin.
I know.
I agree.
I don't. Because then
listen, we dealt with it in the animated series back in the 90s. The Hobgoblin showed up way before Green Goblin.
Yep, he did. But to me, it's like once you do Hobgoblin, doesn't it then become been there, done that if you want to then do Green Goblin? Like it doesn't have the same effect. Like everything you're saying about Norman screwing over Peter, becoming the Green Goblin, loses that effect if we've already had a Hobgoblin.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're right.
Because like if anyone watches the Flash on CW, which probably no one does but me, Barry. Oh, okay, perfect. So Barry got screwed over once with Reverse Flash. It's what took the luster out of it a little bit in season 2. But he got screwed over again. It's like, all right, like at some point he has to see this shit coming. You know what I'm saying? You know, so to me it's like it loses that a little bit.
But that season 1 is absolute proof that screw over storyline works.
It worked. Absolutely. It worked flawlessly.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Joe, to lead into the Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
You ready for this? This one I really took some time to. I believe that the power broker is none other than the Mandarin.
That's what I was going to say.
Oh, perfect.
Ooh, wow, that's good. I didn't think of that at all.
Mainly because we've seen since Ant-Man, his organization has existed, and we've just never heard anything else about it. But we know that it exists. To me, I don't think Shang-Chi should be the first time we actually feel the influence of the Mandarin.
Yep.
I would like it to be that he's a stout businessman who loves power, hence power broker. And then he finds the ultimate power with the 10 rings, but he finds it through technology. So he's been trying to get the tech from Ant-Man, didn't get it. Been trying to get the tech from Stark, maybe didn't get it. So I love the idea of he's seeking power by any means. And it would be the one person no one would see coming because you've never heard of him since, Return of the King or whatever that little short thing was they did with...
Right, with Ben Kingsley.
Right, with Ben Kingsley. So it would catch people off guard because it's like, oh, shit.
You're right. Because at this point, everybody... I think the Sharon Carter thing is a full red herring. Like, she's not the power broker. She might be working with him.
They say that she might be working for him.
I think she is.
Yeah. I think everybody's kind of on the hook that it's General Ross, who, let's face it, as a career military man, would want a super soldier suit.
I think Ross might be funding the idea of the super soldier serum because I told you, Pete, I think the first ever working experiment under this new parameters was Taskmaster. And it's why Ross is in Black Widow. I think he's checking on his experiment. And I do think behind the scenes we will see the Thunderbolts where it's Taskmaster, it's maybe Abomination.
Honestly, I want to see Thunderbolt at this point because I don't know who the actor is, but Zemo has a mountain of charisma. Daniel Bruhl, thank you. That man is fantastic on screen. Like he did not have a chance to shine in Civil War the way he is in this show. And
it was real. I love that episode. I loved because of him.
He dances like I do. I'm with it.
I love it. I love it because to me, I don't think they'll go that route, but I really hope they do. I want them to stick to the source. And since Zemo's dad wasn't the original, costume Zemo, I want them to melt it onto him that mask does not come off.
But they're gonna do some shit like that with Doom, so I don't know how many times they can get away with the whole melted mask thing.
Doom to me, you can. Well, remember in the comics that is how Zemo's mask got.
I know.
But to me, I kind of feel like they disrespected him. He put the mask on to shoot a bazooka and then immediately took it off, and I was just like,
there was a lot of repeating stuff in like the early comics. Like Stan Lee was very much into the whosoever holds this, howsoever touches this kind of. He was mad about like whosoever touching stuff. So it got repeated a lot.
Yeah. So
what do you guys? What do you guys think of the possibility now? And I don't know if it's just too far gone with Thunderbolt Ross finally becoming Red Hulk.
I hope it happens now. He's got a super soldier serum.
No, I know, but is it too far gone?
No. It is mainly because I do think the role of Red Hulk will probably be awarded to Abomination.
Gotcha.
That'll probably be Abomination in that.
Okay.
To me, I don't see Feige doing it because it's one of those things where it's like, where would you do it? Could you do it in She-Hulk? Sure. But to me, it's like I first need to see how. Like, I don't want a Red Hulk if my Hulk is this genius, fucking Apple tech worker.
Right.
Yeah.
An end game. Like I need.
I agree.
But
I agree there.
That could be he gets his ass whooped, let's say, by Red Hulk, and he realizes, damn it, this lack of strength is not cutting it. I gotta Hulk out. Like I gotta go back.
What is it called? Not Berserk Hulk. What is it called when he goes?
Savage Hulk.
Savage Hulk.
Yeah.
Well, to me, I don't even need that. I just need Hulk that existed before Endgame.
Right.
That's all I need.
I hearken back to the scene in Onslaught when he told Jean Grey, like, go into my head and turn Banner off. Like that's kind of where I'm going with this. Like, I can't beat this guy how I am now. I need the Hulk back.
To me, Pete, it all depends because it kind of looks like the future of Hulk resides.
Well,
with
yeah, I mean it's never going to happen because of I think it's Miramax or whatever owns.
No, that's
Universal.
Universal. Yeah, Universal.
Oh, it's Universal. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But no,
Universal told Feige that he's allowed to use Hulk in team up scenarios,
not in a solo flick, right?
Not in a solo movie.
But I mean, we may see Red Hulk rather in a Thunderbolts flick because I know they want to go that route at some point.
Universal owns
Thunderbolts to be a series.
Distribution, yeah.
I'm sorry, Andrew. What'd you say?
Universal owns distribution rights for the whole character, so it can't be a standalone movie unless Universal has
unless they agree to it.
Right.
However, somehow the rights became separated, and that's where the confusion lies. Because normally the only rights that are usually associated, normally, for example, with Spider-Man, that's what it was. With Spider-Man, you had the merchandising rights reverting to Disney before anything else because Sony was in such dire straits. They sold off the merchandising rights back to Disney. But Universal, I don't know how they became separate because I don't know what the deal was that it was different. All those deals were signed at the same time with Fox with the Fantastic Four and the X-Men, Sony with Spider-Man, and Universal with the Hulk. They were all pretty much negotiated the same way.
Somebody had better lawyers.
No, Universal. No, the deal Universal and Sony struck was different than the one Fox did because at the time, two of your biggest characters were Hulk and Spider-Man. So Universal and Sony asked for bigger pieces of that pie.
Right, but they still maintain the actual use of the character and distribution rights of the movie.
What, Marvel?
Sony.
Oh, right.
I thought someone else had the distribution rights for the Hulk.
No, Universal. It was Universal.
I always got them confused with Mirror. For whatever reason, in my head, it was always
the main reason, Jay, that I know it was Universal. Mm-hmm. Go to Universal Studios. One of their biggest rides is the Incredible Hulk.
The Hulk coaster, right? That's true.
Right.
Wasn't the former head of Sony? Didn't she go over to Universal? Amy.
Yes. Yep.
What's her name?
Pascal.
Is it Amy Pascal?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Sounded weird. I thought that was an actress.
She's overseeing this last Spider-Man movie, and that's a fulfillment of her Sony duty.
I don't know how long. By the way, speaking of, I don't know how much longer Universal has the ability to use those characters. Marvel, because Disney is basically allowing it to continue happen in Florida, but you can already see Marvel characters walking around in Anaheim in Disneyland.
Yeah.
So those rights are eventually reverting back to Disney.
Well, no, they don't revert back. So what the way Universal's deal works is,
For
and that's
Florida?
why. Say it again. I'm sorry.
For Florida.
Oh, you're talking about just for that. Oh, I thought you were talking about the movie rights of the
No. I'm talking about using the parks down in the,
At this point, they'll probably just work out a deal to rent the characters. As
Here's the thing though. Universal, one of the biggest things they have is the idea that Hulk is running around with their name. So to them, it's just like, till the wheels fall off.
Yeah.
'Cause remember, Fox only did that because the wheels were falling off.
Yeah.
So Universal and Sony, they're just like, no, we'll just keep Sony's like, I'll just keep making 900 Men in Blacks, but as long as I got Spider-Man here, I'm good. So I don't think they'll ever get that desperate.
I don't think Universal can make a Hulk movie though.
No, they can. They can team with Marvel to make one.
Right.
They're just like, also people need to remember, does anyone here know the other character that they own?
Namor.
There
Yes.
you go. And so that's going to be something that's interesting to see because apparently Black Panther 2 wanted to use Namor.
Yep.
But it's the same. It's the same rule. I think you can't have a Namor movie, but you can have him
Team up.
in. Yeah, he
But
can be
if
the
you're
villain
Marvel-
in Black Panther.
Right. If you're Marvel, you may want to stay away from it because of the growing popularity of Aquaman. The fact that they mirror each other too much. So a solo movie might not be what you even want to do.
Right. Yeah.
I
just
agree
have him show up, and people be like, "Ooh, Namor," and done.
Yeah.
I want to go back to one thing before we get out of here. When you guys had asked what the ideal casting for a Batman Beyond movie was.
Yeah.
I want to take it back to there. Obviously, I think Michael Keaton, simply because, one, he's older than Ben Affleck.
Yeah.
Joe, I fully agree with you. Affleck is too recent to just have him all of a sudden show up, and now he's kind of looking the same, but supposed to be way older.
I'd still watch it, though.
Beyond.
I'd still watch it.
100%. I want to kind of fan cast Terry McGinnis for a second, and I want to see what you guys think of this. And this is going to sound controversial, but look at the kid, and then look at the animated Terry, and tell me that Cole Sprouse from Riverdale couldn't pull that shit off.
Who's Cole Sprouse?
Yep.
He plays Jughead on Riverdale.
What's Riverdale?
Pete, you got me looking this up now.
I know.
No, I know.
Take a look at the kid, man.
I mean, I know Riverdale.
I know exactly who you're talking about. I had always imagined Noah, who's playing Adam Smasher in Black Adam. I had always imagined him.
Okay, so
body-
I gotta go to IMDb because I'm not sure who that shit that
I
is.
like his body. I like how he bulked up for Adam Smasher in Black Adam. I don't know. To me, I'm going to be completely honest with you. You could tell me a box of shoes is Terry McGinnis, and I'm indifferent because I'm just not. I'm not that big of a fan.
Okay,
of
with hair, with hair, he's good. He's got like a mad crew cut on some of these pitches, and that shit don't work. But okay, he works too. He works too.
I'm sure, I'm sure if they do, it'll be someone from Stranger Things.
By the way, just for the record, Andrew, Lily Reinhart as Betty is absolutely worth your time on Riverdale. Camila Mendez as Veronica.
I do
is
like
also
me
worth
some
your time.
Camilla. I do like
Yeah,
me some
she-
Camilla.
I will say really quickly, Pete. Speaking of fan casts, one that I brought up to my friend Joelle that no one's talking about. They need another Harry Potter project, right? That's obviously not this Fantastic Beast.
Right.
Tell me you guys wouldn't see Adam Driver as Professor Snape.
100%. Young Snape movie. It needs to happen. Why it's not already in the works, I don't know. And that's
I don't
probably
know,
because the damn author can't keep her fucking un-PC mouth shut. Like, even if you think that shit, shut up. Shut up. There's billions to be made, you stupid bitch. Shut up.
I kind of want to go the route of older Potter, though. I really do. Before
Jay, damn you! Yeah, I'm actually doing a Google search for that right now, and that's actually there's some good photoshops of that.
Of young Snape.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Adam Driver. That's actually really good.
Adam Driver, no, he does. He does resemble a younger Snape.
There needs to be one clause. This motherfucker has got to keep his shirt on the whole movie.
I'm with you on that. I mean, for so many reasons, I'm with you.
I do not need pecs the same size as your pinhead to keep your
There's
shirt on.
absolutely no reason for him to be topless in Star Wars.
None at all.
And I even think he could do the voice. Now that you bring it up,
Yeah,
the Rickman voice.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mhm.
Because to me, I do solely believe when you have standout characters in an ensemble movie, the
Mhm.
best thing to do when that ends is just do solo projects of prequels. It's like I would have taken a Dumbledore movie before throwing him into Fantastic Beasts. That would have been so dope. And then taking the aspects of that and putting it in that Dumbledore movie. Fantastic Beasts, I love it. The second one was hot garbage. I just don't know what to do with it.
Well, that's what we were talking about last time I was speaking with you. The best part out of the Star Wars prequels was Ewan McGregor's Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
So
Well, now we're gonna get a movie. We're gonna get a show out of it. Now, so we're good.
I don't
Now
know
we're
if
getting
I
the show.
ever agree with that, Andrew. I loved his Obi-Wan, but the best thing.
no, overall, I think across all three movies,
Oh, all three, yes, hands down, all three.
Yeah.
But I tell you what, there's something special about that Revenge of the Sith Anakin.
Oh, I love
Yeah,
absolutely.
remarkable
Yeah.
about that.
Stands out, but across all three movies, one common theme between all three is
Was Obi.
Ewan McGregor's portrayal as Obi-Wan. He
I
nailed
mean, essentially,
it.
it's what Adam Driver went into with becoming Kylo Ren. He essentially was Revenge of the Sith Anakin
Yeah.
over the course of 3 movies.
Yeah.
So I'm like, without that, there's no Adam Driver Kylo Ren. You
And
need
he's easily the best part of that sequel trilogy.
Yeah.
Take Adam Driver out.
Yeah, that's true.
It's hot garbage. Which, by the way, I would love to see Timothy Chalamet be a younger
Young Ben Solo.
Kylo. Yes, Ben Solo.
Young Ben Solo. I'm
Kylo.
pushing for that too. I would love that.
Yep. I need it as a Disney Plus series.
With Sebastian Stan as Mark Hamill.
Sebastian Stan looks exactly
Take
like
it.
I
Mark
would love
Hamill.
it. I
Take
would
it.
honestly love it. And I tell you this. The reason why people cried and went crazy over that Luke Skywalker in The Mandalorian Season 2 was it was the Luke everyone had been wishing to see.
Right.
That we got the freaking idiot director just threw in the garbage for The Last Jedi. So
That's a whole other show.
I like Last Jedi. I hated Force Awakens.
Oh,
I've
say
never
that
heard
shit.
that, Andrew.
That's a whole other show.
Yeah.
We're approaching the
Pete-
2-hour mark. I don't want to go too
Pete,
far.
you
over.
ever have that show, Pete? I'm on there.
Awesome.
Yes,
Listen, I can bitch about
Oh.
Star Wars all the time, but
Yeah.
I need to get my boy Rocco on here in order to do that as
Oh,
well.
I'll come on. I'll be the most hated man on your internet show. I loved Force Awakens.
Challenge accepted.
I loved Last Jedi. I hated Force Awakens.
Oh,
So I guess you guys out there in Pete's Basement Land can look forward to a Star Wars sequel overall review, which I don't think we've ever done a panel discussion about that. So that's something to look forward to. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this show. We talked about Godzilla, Batman, Spider-Man, pretty much all the greats on this one. Hit us up, questions at peachbasement.com, facebook.com/Pete's Basement, Instagram, Twitter, etc. at Pete's Basement. Joe, tell us where we can find Average Joe Podcast.
just as it says, just your average Joe. Please go ahead and subscribe today.
Instagram, Twitter, etc. YouTube, of course.
YouTube, yeah, exactly. Yeah, just your average Joe is you can find me on YouTube. Just look up just your average Joe or just your average Joe. I forgot how I put it on Instagram. Doesn't matter. Don't worry about it.
I'm sure if you just put that in the search bar, it'll come up.
It will.
And Juwaan, of course, give the shout out. You know what to do by now.
Please follow us over at Geek Vibes Nation. Huge shout out to Dakota, our artist, who I don't know if I'm in the way, made this Godzilla King Kong GVN logo for us for the movie. Huge shouts out to him. But yeah, follow us, Geek Vibes Nation, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Mainly Twitter. That's where we give the most.
You guys have a huge Twitter following, not for nothing. Yeah, really do. But
Yeah.
we are messing around on there all week long. We do Figure It Out. There's the Marvel Cinematic Review on Saturdays. That's a live show, so you can check that out. And whenever we manage to get together, it's usually either Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday. We do Figure It Out, and then Juwaan publishes that like a day later, less than a day later. He's good at that shit. He's better than me, I'll tell you right now. Because this has been recorded, and I aim to have it up by tomorrow. So it'll be there. I promise you it'll be there. Jay, thank you for being on the program, man. I hope you had fun, and I hope to have you on much, much more.
I did. Thank you for having me. I'm sorry my internet is complete shit tonight. I've tried
It
3
happens to the
different
best
ways
of
to
us.
stream this, and now I'm streaming it on my phone. But thank you for having me.
Phone is usually the best one. And Andrew, of course, thank you for coming on, and I expect you to be on more as well.
Yeah, I got nothing to plug.
Well, no, you're mad like fucking secret agent, dude. Like you got like the hood up and shit. Like I'm glad we're actually seeing your face this time.
Hello, CGC boards. It's me.
Fair enough, guys. We're gonna get out of here. Salud. Thanks for tuning in. Everybody have a great night, and we will see you sooner than later.
Thanks, Pete.
Thanks, Pete. Have a good night.
Y'all too.
Pete's Basement is copyrighted 2020. Ripped Productions. All rights reserved. So go fuck yourself.